So now every time I start my stream, I have the "Is She With You" song play.
Oh, that's
just so fucking epic.
It's a great song. It's a great song.
Hans Zimmer.
It's a wonderful song.
Did you hear the bad news though?
Tell me about the bad news?
He's not doing any more superhero movies.
What?
He's retiring from superhero movies after that movie. I'm like, no.
Well, hey everybody!
Only.
Welcome to the Rage Select podcast.
Woo-woo.
Right here at Rage Select, and I am Jeff.
I'm Mayhem's Muse.
And Jennifer, yes, you're back here this week.
Again,
yes, and we have just a metric ton of gaming stuff to talk about this week. But before we do, what have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in a little while.
I've been dying of physical exertion lately. Mm-hmm. I'm going on this mad, crazy rampage to get my body and mind into shape for playing Barbara Gordon in the new Robin the Web series.
Oh, wow.
So I went out and bought a shit ton of comics, as you do. You know, I've decided I will own every comic and video game ever that has her in it. So that I am like the authority on the subject. Because, I mean, how better to play Oracle than to know everything about Oracle?
Okay.
Cool. So I made this new mechanic for my stream that every time somebody donates to my Twitch stream, I have to do a certain amount of physical exertion to make up for it. So it's like every donation I have to do 10 push-ups, and every $10 it's like 10 sit-ups, and my god, I'm so sore.
I saw you post that, and I saw that picture, and then my brain instantly started doing the math of what it would be like if the money that I get from Patreon was filtered through this particular formula. And I was like, I would be able to star in the next Marvel movie.
Yes, exactly. I will be buff as fuck in like a month.
Yeah.
I'm already sore.
I will be Captain America.
Yes.
I don't need a super soldier serum. I just did sit-ups
You
forever.
Want to team up and make our own team and like go save Gotham? Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm more of a kind of just Harvey Bullock type character.
Ooh,
like wearing big trench coats, eating cheeseburgers, being kind of overweight and out of shape, you know.
So you'll be Rorschach?
Yes,
Closer?
Yeah.
Fedora in the
or like Night Owl in the comics, not in the movies.
Oh yeah. Bigger and
I've always been like I swear to God, people, I'm not spending a third week complaining about Zack Snyder.
I don't believe you.
But
here he goes. Watch it happen.
And here it is. I say that. I'm immediately lying. I was really sad when I saw Watchmen and Night Owl wasn't a fat guy, because like
they tried.
They did, but you know, there's a subsection there of him kind of like regaining like his confidence and stuff. And one of the reasons he doesn't have it anymore is because he's turned into this big fat guy who watches TV and eats chips and stuff. And
I just died. I think they went for emotionally overweight.
Yeah.
There was a lot of angst.
That doesn't work.
A lot of angst.
That doesn't work. In this day when we need more representation of people in movies, I'm looking for more representation of out of shape, overweight, fat dudes in movies.
You're not a fan of like the man junk just hanging out all over the place and being all sexy fit and whatnot? I mean...
Well, wait, what man junk were we talking about? Like Wangles and Dangles, or like abs
Watchman,
and...
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. I got no problem with that.
He's all super sexy fit. Like, crazy.
Well, sure, you've already got several super sexy fit men in there, you know? Let me have one big fat superhero.
All right, that's cool. Balance. I see that. Balance.
You know.
You need balance.
It's a contrast.
Fair enough.
Well, that's cool. What is it? Is this... tell me more about the series. Is it an official license fan series?
It is a fan project.
Okay.
It is called Robin the Web series. It's so far they have 2 seasons of it scripted. It is the story of Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown with Barbara Gordon as Oracle and Dick Grayson as Nightwing.
Okay.
And that's all that we're allowed to say so far.
Fair enough.
We've got a pretty rockin' cast so far, though. We have the gentleman who played Zordon in the original Power Rangers series.
The big head.
Board. Yeah.
The Mighty Oz.
Yeah. Yeah, we have him. We've got some really, really great people. We're shooting the trailer this month, and then we will be crowdfunding for it. Since it's a fan film, we're not allowed to actually like have we can't
sell DVDs.
Yeah, we can't sell it. So it's all, hey, if you love these people and you want to see more of this story, please donate to this thing so that we can be superheroes. I really want to be a superhero, you know?
Okay,
I really do.
I got one question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, you may not be able to talk about this. This may be like fully under wraps, right?
Okay.
Superhero costumes, like dumb leather X-Men style, or like stupid looking Christopher Reeve Superman spandex?
A interesting combination of the two, which I can talk about so far because we've just done the first set of promotional images of of Batgirl and Robin. and it's an interesting combination of leathers and fabrics.
Okay.
But they look really more utilitarian, like they can actually move and do fights and stuff in these costumes.
Right.
All of the people on staff so far are all choreographers and stunt fighters.
Okay.
So there's going to be actual real fighting going on in this, which is really exciting. Yeah, they're actually like training as we speak right now, writing fights.
Holy crap.
It's going to be so good. I'm so excited.
I'm waiting for the day that I see your Facebook post where it's like, well, got punched in the face.
That happened.
That happened.
So that happened.
So that happened.
Yeah, we're all intense about it too. All of us, the core 4 group, we're all like, all right, we're going on really healthy diets, and we're going to the gym every day. And how many push-ups have you done today? Like Mika Nicole, who is Stephanie Brown, she teaches kickboxing and choreographs stunt fights and does an amazing array of martial arts and different things. She is my senpai. She is training me and helping me to get into shape and whatnot. So she dragged my happy ass to the gym last night after we did our stream, and I hurt, but it's good. It's good pain. It's good pain. It's the pain of weakness leaving my body and superhero entering it.
This is really a real kind of metaphorical kick in the pants, because I've been thinking recently, boy, I sit on my butt for too long, so I walked my dog for like an extra 3 blocks last night, and when I got home I was like, oh, my legs are a little sore, and you're here like, yeah, I was doing flips. I am a literal superhero.
I whipped out my bow staff.
That's right.
We had some fights.
Yep.
It's cool.
I actually stopped several robberies yesterday just walking home from the gym.
Just the 2. It was a slow day.
Okay. And then there were the ninjas. I mean, I'll count that as the third one.
Don't talk about the ninjas.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Well, I tell you what we will talk about is just when I think that pop culture doesn't have something every single week for me to talk about, Star Wars Rogue One trailer today. I mean, I was sitting around going like, what am I going to talk about?
Swoon.
Star Wars Rogue One trailer out today.
Disney.
Yeah.
I love you right now.
Yeah.
I really do. You're making my little nerdy fangirl heart so happy.
I got to tell you, I am... okay, so The Force Awakens just came out on Blu-ray and streaming and DVD and stuff.
Just this month.
And I watched it again, and I still like that movie quite a bit, but I have to say, I'm really excited about this because, as near as I can tell, there's no way that this could be a rehash of the original Star Wars, right? Like, this is going to be...
totally and completely different angle, which is beautiful. It's so much new content that fans have never gotten to see before. It's like the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
They're telling it from a different angle, so you have all of these caveats and beautiful things that you didn't get to see the first time around. This is exactly that. It's the same story, but completely different characters, completely different angle, and a new element for fans to just immerse themselves in and enjoy. I'm so excited about it.
And the other thing that I really like about this is that, as near as I can tell, and this, I don't know if people don't know this, so skip forward like 10 seconds because whatever. I think this trailer makes it pretty clear, though, if you've seen it. That so I don't know if you know this, but over the years, being a fan of Star Wars, there have been roughly 6 billion different stories about how did the rebels get the plans to the Death Star.
Right.
My favorite is my friend who let me in on the internet fan theory that it was actually one guy, and his name was Manny Bothans, and he got killed because I don't know if you remember this, but the Mon Mothma says this is the second Death Star.
Manny Bothans have been killed.
And so I like this fictional Star Wars character of Manny Bothans, the guy who brings the Death Star plans. But there have been games. The original Dark Forces, I think, was about this. I think Shadows of the Empire was about this.
Yeah.
I had an audio drama tape when I was a kid that was about this. But this, we're finally going to get, this is the definitive story. And it looks like it focuses around this young lady. I need to look up what her character's name is. They say it in the trailer.
So
but
the question for me, since it's been forever since I've read any of the Star Wars books, it's been years. Is this based on a novel?
Nope.
So is this something that Disney is writing? Is this something that Lucas wrote?
Okay, well, let's take it.
Let's find out together.
Well, Lucas is gone at this point.
Right, but is this a story that he had already written before
I don't believe so.
Of the Guard, or is this all Disney?
Okay, so this is, let's see, screenplay by Gary Whitta and Chris Weitz. Those names, I don't keep up with this sort of stuff. So let's see, Gary Whitta, screenwriting, The Book of Eli. I don't really understand this. Okay, let me just go to
Words are hard, folks.
IMDb page. Wikipedia is kind of a okay. So Chris Weitz, apparently the other writer. What do we got? Ants. Well, here, I'm gonna just go. Okay, here we go. This guy's got an easy one. Oh wow, He's the guy I want writing Star Wars. Ants, American Pie, Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, American Pie 2, American Wedding.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about this all of a sudden.
The Golden Compass. Oh, well, this is the guy.
So are there going to be a lot of like drunken shenanigans? All of a sudden,
that would be great.
I'm scared now.
No,
I was feeling really good about it, and now
this is what I really want. I want the trailer to be a complete fake out, and it turns out it's like a teen party movie that just happens to take place.
No,
it's like Animal House, but then when they got drunk and they woke up the next day, they all have the plans to the Death Star. And like, how did we even get this?
Bro, I don't even remember. Why am I wearing your clothes? What even is this?
Oh, hey,
this isn't Blue Milk.
This Chris Weitz guy was actually the director of Twilight New Moon.
Oh God,
yeah,
help us.
Anyway, after what was it? After Guardians of the Galaxy, not Guardians. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I don't have any dislike for James Gunn, but it was still kind of like James Gunn. I mean, I've seen Super, and that's not really much of a superhero movie. It's more about a guy with mental illness.
Yeah.
And then in the Captain America Winter Soldier was written by two guys who had a kind of dubious. So I never really take the stuff into consideration.
Oh, sure. You never
I kind
know
of feel
until you see it.
More like it's a thing where, okay, so the other guy, Gary Whitta, let's see, scripted. Oh, it looks like he's done video game stuff. Walking Dead.
Nice.
Season 2, Walking Dead, 400 Days. After Earth, Book of Eli, and the Prey video game screenplay.
Oh, interesting.
But then let's see. The director is the most important here, or is at least to me. Gareth Edwards, Hiroshima and the Shadow of the Moon, Monsters, Godzilla.
I liked Godzilla.
Yeah, and then Monsters Dark Continent, Rogue One, and Untitled Godzilla. So, I don't know. But the trailer looks real good.
It looks like it's beautifully shot. The cinematography is stunning.
And the main character seems to be Jin Erso, played by Felicity Jones, who was in The Worst Witch.
I know she looks familiar.
She was in Doctor Who.
That's where I recognize her from.
Yeah. And then films, let's see. Bit of Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is the one I really recognize on here.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then, hey, hi, Forrest Whitaker. You're still doing stuff, right?
Heck yeah, he is.
You need somebody to do you need a dramatic voiceover. Mm-hmm. Forrest Whitaker has you covered.
Done.
I also like the fact that it looks like the whole thing has a few elements in it that I think are great things for a Star Wars movie that we've never actually seen in a Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
One, it seems like this character is defecting from the Empire, and so some of the stuff looks like we're going to be starting this story with her inside of the Empire as an organization and then leaving.
Which is an interesting parallel to the last Star Wars movie that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Everybody's defecting all of a sudden. I wonder why.
Well, if I remember correctly, I mean, it could have been totally wiped out of history now, but I seem to remember that at one point Han Solo started as an Imperial pilot who then, when he saw what the Empire was doing,
was like, nah, bro. He
broke Chewie out of Imperial slavery, and then they both grabbed a ship and then went off to be pirates.
See, and that I didn't know, but that's awesome.
I mean, I could be, this could all have been wiped out, but I seem to remember this really touching image of just these. It was the hands of Han Solo and Chewbacca, and he was unlocking Chewbacca's handcuffs with one hand and kind of crumpling up and throwing away the Imperial insignia with the other hand.
Nice.
But anyway, I like that. I also like the fact that when I look at this, I'm seeing there's at least one part in this trailer towards the end where there's a planet that has both beach and trees on it.
Yeah.
Which I'm always happy in Star Wars when I get to see two different biomes instead of just every planet only has one.
You're ridiculous.
Snowy forest. Jakku could have been any it could have been
there are
different
reasons.
style of planet.
There are reasons.
Okay.
I'm almost positive that there are reasons of parallels to Tatooine because reasons. Just wait.
Just put it on
Just
Tatooine.
wait.
What?
It's a trilogy. There's going to be 3.
What?
Give it time.
I mean,
give it time, bro.
Okay.
That plot simmer. That tension builds.
I can get behind the idea that there's one garbage ass planet in the universe that people settle on and have terrible lives on, but 2. Come on now.
Because the whole galaxy is just rife with planets that are prospering and doing well. I mean,
they've got
that's
so
why
many.
The Empire has so many people that hate them right now.
Yeah, the Empire could just blow them up. No problem. Also, is it just me or when I look at Forrest Whitaker in here, he almost seems like he's wearing this armor that almost seems like it could be some kind of Darth Vader-y type of thing. Like it just calls to mind Vader in the black armor with kind of weird styling on it. So
as if they have the same armorist.
Maybe. And then I like this part at the end where a bunch of walkers are shooting at them and they're all running around getting shot. Yeah, it looks great. Also,
it'll be so good. Can't wait. And it's in December about my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Woo woo.
Also, the fact that it's in the original timeline is just icing on the cake. So
it's tasty.
Yep. Let's see. Before we jump into the news, I have a very brief story that I would like to tell people.
Oh, tell us.
Because I know that there's a lot of people that listen to Rage Select, and they haven't decided what they want to do with their life yet. And I just found out last week about a new thing that you can do with your life that apparently nobody told me about when I was a kid.
Uh-oh.
All right, so last week I was down, I was in my back porch, I was smoking, I was talking on the phone with, like, my dad or something, and somebody comes walking up, like, outside of my fence, and they're like, excuse me, and I was, okay, so I go, and they're like, hey, have you seen a gray cat wandering around here? And I was like, no, I haven't seen a gray cat. Like, well, if you do, could you give me a call? And this person handed me their business card, which I think I picked up. And this business card says, literally, Kim Freeman, cat detective.
That's amazing.
Did you know that the movie Ace Ventura was based on a thing you could act? If I had known that there was a way that I could be a pet detective in real life.
That's fabulous. We need to go home and rethink our lives.
I've been rethinking it ever since. I've just been like, what am I doing?
Sorry, guys. We're cutting the podcast off short. We got to go train to become cat detectives.
Train what?
See ya.
I've already got the overweight detective thing going on, and you're, got bow staffs and in shape. Let's go.
And a trench coat. That's all I need.
Yeah. Let's go rescue. And this business card is great because it's got this lady's contact information. It's got a picture of her, and she's literally got like a big magnifying glass, like she's she's from the 1920s. Like,
I'm going to be sadly disappointed if I hire her and she does not come and whip out the magnifying glass
immediately, just like CSIing and looking for your cat. Oh,
misrepresentation. I love this. You lady, you are my new hero.
Yeah. So
Cat detective lady, this one's for you.
LostCatFinder.com, I swear.
Beautiful.
Dedicated to reuniting pets with their owners. I didn't know it was a thing.
I thought you were going to go, I thought this was segueing to like the Airbnb for pets, where I thought this was going. And I was like, yeah, it's totally a thing. My friend does that.
Nope, this was the thing. I don't know. I just immediately started thinking about Ace Ventura, and when I was 16 or whatever, and that movie came out, and
don't go in there.
I wish I could have been Ace Ventura when I was 16, and apparently I could have. I just didn't,
You could have, but I will get you a floral shirt and a tutu.
Okay.
And combat boots next week. I'll bring them. It'll be beautiful.
I'll get in the box.
Take pictures.
We'll go to the mental asylum.
Yes.
I like that movie, and it's one of those things that I can hold up and just be like, "This is dumb as hell," and
it's great.
Fucking love it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on now that you guys are all rethinking your life. Video game news, and our first story this week is another one of those like super awesome Blizzard. Trailers came out for Overwatch. This one called Alive. Now, did you see the?
It helps if you hit the play button.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, boy.
Did you see the first one?
Yeah.
With Winston. This one was real
Blizzard,
good.
you're doing it right. I love that you're in Austin. Hire me, please. I want to come model for you guys. Real bad. Real bad.
Every single person, every single human sees these things and they say the exact same thing. They're just like, dude, fuck this game. Just make this TV series. I'll watch
Seriously, it's just tasty. It's fucking gorgeous.
So this is all about this one really focuses on Widowmaker, the character of Widowmaker, along with Tracer, one of the good.
Her voice is super sexy.
Overwatch operatives.
Ooh, you can hire me to be a voiceover actor too. I'd do that for you. Blizzard, call me, please. Call me. This is tasty. It's beautiful. Oh, it's so pretty.
I have a question though. I'm really unsure. Like, okay, so the whole plot of this is that Widowmaker is some kind of like sniper assassin.
Heck yeah.
And she's trying to assassinate this guy.
She comes alive when she's killing people.
That's right. And he's a robot, and he's at like some kind of rally that's all about people and robots.
Unity.
We're
together.
Doing our thing.
We're people in the iris.
The implication here though seems to be that like there's plenty of people out in that audience that are in like inter-robo relationships. Like they seem to be.
You think?
Well, I don't know. There's a thing at the end where I don't know. That's the impression that I got. Maybe my mind just goes there automatically.
Your mind just goes there because you're a dirty bird. We love you.
I'm like, hey, robots. But yeah. So apparently something. See,
oh yeah, you're right.
Pretty sure that lady is dating that robot.
That's cool.
No judgment. I'm just kind of curious about.
I mean, technically, that kind of thing's already happening in our society, just on a different. Anyway,
people dating robots.
Well, people dating things of mechanical natures.
Okay, sure.
Not a far stretch, really.
But yeah, this goes like basically there's this robot guy. He's having this rally. Widowmaker is there to shoot him. Tracer kind of figures this out, and then they have just like 4 minutes worth of an action sequence that puts like half the action movies that I've seen to shame. It's all over the place.
The upside down ankle holding rappel to sniper action is just tasty as fuck.
It's half in slow motion.
The sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I love it.
Butts and sniper rifles and
hair,
robot hair and
all the hair,
robots and time powers.
That's all you need to know, folks.
Yep.
That's all you need to know. And skin tight bodysuits, as you do.
And you know what I really what I really like about this particular trailer or about this particular little feature. And people should go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's going to take you all like 5 minutes. Just pause this, go watch it, then come back. Is that the Widowmaker character kind of wins at the end?
Yeah, she does. She totally wins. She accomplishes her mission and then goes on about her business.
Yeah, which is real.
In like it's cute that you think you can stop me kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't entirely understand what happens at the big climax when she shoots through. Like, is the hole in Tracer's chest just like
she learns that homegirl's gonna
just jump out of the way
and jump out of the way. So she calculates for that, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna shoot you, and I know you're gonna move, and then I'm gonna do what I need.
Okay.
Done. 2 for 1.
It's funny because watching these things and watching most of the stuff that Blizzard puts out, I find it amazing. Like I'm not gonna again. I said I'm not gonna talk about that other thing.
I don't believe you. Here he goes again. Here it comes.
I'm not gonna say any names. No, you make your own inferences. Like, this trailer establishes a good guy, a bad guy, stakes, and all in like 6 minutes. And it's got a beginning and a middle and an end and a resolution, and it's a wonderful little story. And you kind of have sympathy for either Tracer or Widowmaker or both of them or whatever. And I find it amazing that you can get this amount of just me caring about and being engaged in this one little short in the time span of
it's good writing, damn it.
6 minutes and 18 seconds. Yeah. Also, it got me watching videos for the actual Overwatch game, which I really want to get access to, and I'm really kind of pissed that I can't right now because they're in closed beta. But yeah, I don't know.
Love his robes.
Are you gonna? Do you think you're gonna play Overwatch when it comes out? Have you seen?
I might.
Footage of the actual game.
It'll depend on where I'm at. I've got a backlog right now that's just insane. I'm slowly getting through it, which is nice, and I'll get through a big chunk of it next week. But I don't know. We'll see in the next few months. If I get to much more streaming and gaming time, then I might add it in there.
Because I think that May, if you pre-order it in the beginning of May, I believe there's an open beta that's coming out. But yeah, I
very well might then, because most of the games that I'm really going to save some bandwidth for aren't coming out until the end of the year and beginning of next year. So I might have some time middle of the year on. I'll take suggestions, folks.
May I make Dark Souls 3 comes out next week in the U.S.
Star Ocean?
What's that? Oh, that's the end. We actually have a story about that, but actually it's towards the end of this month, I believe.
Yeah, that one I'm looking forward to. That one's on my Amazon wish list.
End of this month, end of next month. But anyway, so that is awesome. Then we're just going to, I don't know, we're going to touch briefly on this. So last week.
You're going to briefly touch the butt?
I'm going to touch on the overbutt. So last week, there was a thing that we didn't really get into all that much, which was
that booty dough.
It's the internet, man. There's controversy every single day about every single thing.
America, there's controversy everywhere.
Yeah. So, all right. The character of Tracer had a victory pose in Overwatch, which involved her turned around with butt face, like kind of looking over her shoulder at the camera, being all cheeky. Blizzard got mostly it seems like 1 or 2 complaints, and then those kind of were bolstered by a few other people saying they felt like this was a little bit inappropriate for this particular character.
This is me rolling my eyes.
Yes. I'm kind of a little bit of eye rolly too, because this, it would be one thing if the original pose was like really overtly sexual, but it's just like, it's basically also the superheroes are wearing skin tight clothes these days, turned around. I don't know. Butt crack is there, but
I'm just saying, Tifa from Final Fantasy VII is all that I have to say about any of this.
Yeah. Anyway,
like the jumping up and down and the boobies and at the victory. I mean, come on, really? There's butts. Okay, here's the thing. We're gonna have a serious talk for about 2 seconds.
Okay,
folks.
Yeah.
We're people. Mm-hmm. We have parts.
Yeah.
One of those parts is a butt. You sit on it.
Really?
It looks really good in tight jeans and or latex, spandex, or other clinging fabrics.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. Just appreciate it. Don't grope it unless you're invited. Just enjoy it. Don't make it weird, bros. That's all I'm saying. All right, this is real talk with Mayhem. Don't make it weird.
If you want to touch the butt, just please ask.
Consent. Right. Is sexy.
And
consent is super sexy.
If the person says yes, feel free to touch
by all means, yes, be appreciative. You know, there's a whole subset of roller derby girls that are all sorts of into like the beautifulness of the athletic bootimus. Ask for permission. You might get to touch it. It's cool. Just don't be weird about it. She's wearing spandex. Get the fuck over it.
Yep. Anyway, last week, apparently Blizzard said that they were going to change this, and then everybody just freaked the shit out. They were just like,
how dare you deny us the booty?
That's right. Also, there was a thing, I mean, I mentioned this on last week where I remember seeing another thing from Blizzard where they were like, we also weren't like super happy with that pose anyway, so we're developing something else. I mean,
being a model, I see figures and poses a lot. It's not particularly a strong pose.
Right.
I do like the new pose.
Yes.
It's more active. All of the muscle groups are engaged. It's much more like you can see the movement of it, and it's less blatant like I'm just standing here looking over my shoulder at you. I like the new pose. I think it's great.
I do too.
I love the parallel between that and the vintage pinup posters.
Oh yes. So there's a new victory pose, and it's based on pretty significantly on of course
smoke and redheaded lady vixen from the 40s.
I'm kind of curious to know what exactly is she just like standing on one foot like when you hit the button to pose.
I think it's like a. Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
Like just hovering there because
I didn't play the original game, so that pose in the first picture is that something like that. Is a movement that she goes through, like at the end of a Final Fantasy battle. You know, Cloud lifts his sword and whips it around in the air a couple times and then sheathes it.
I think that it was originally listed as a victory pose, so I'm pretty sure that at the end of the match, then
she just like strikes a pose and looks at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm imagining at the end of it then, she just she kicks a knee up into the air, and then I imagine that backwards hand, the right hand, is going to come up into the air and do do it kind of thing.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a great compromise between the two things, right?
It.
It's a more dynamic pose. It looks good, but, whatever.
She's super fierce. Look at those calf muscles.
Still, yeah, and there's still butts in there, so
it's side butt.
So let's see. Next up, as far as super hot butts go.
Yes. Pardon me while I drool a little bit.
There is a new 15 minutes worth of Uncharted 4.
I watched every minute of it.
Oh, it was real
tasty.
Real good.
This is coming at great timing for me because I have recently purchased, within the last month or so, I purchased the Nathan Drake collection, and I'm playing through it now. I'm 90% of the way through the first game and loved every minute of it up until about 87%, when the damn zombies come out of nowhere. And then I got mad and yelled a lot and died a whole bunch and then screamed like a little whiny girl and hated my life. But I love the game.
Why? It's just why?
Zombies and I know.
No,
I don't.
You just don't
like
truck
them.
with zombies?
They move weird and creepily, and I don't like anything running up in my face. I mean, all of the bad guys in that game, they shoot at you from a distance, or they come up and they punch you, which you can punch them back. These creepy dudes, they're below you. They get so close that you can't see them in the camera. I don't like it. I don't dig it. Not even a little bit. I hate the zombies. I don't ship it even a little. I have strong feelings about it. And then they pull that. I appreciate the allusion to the Medal of Honor, the let's whip out the zombies 90% of the way through when you think that you're almost done with the game. Surprise! Here's this thing. But I love the game. There are a couple of mechanics that...
Medal of Honor?
Yeah. Oh. There are a couple mechanics that I find to be a little clunky, but I'm imagining that they probably clean them up in the second and third games, which I will definitely be playing as soon as I'm done with the first one. I love the series. I love the style of it. Tomb Raider was one of the very first PlayStation games I ever played, and I've loved that style of archaeology, discovering things, history, lore, mythology. That's my jam. Yeah. I love these games.
Plus, Nathan Drake is just a hell of a I don't know how you could not like Nathan Drake.
He's sassy.
Like he's kind of
super sassy.
Kind of like the Han Solo of video games. Like he just, he's charming and roguish and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So most of this particular video is when I was
around in my automobile.
I was watching it the other day and I was like, oh, this is Jeep platforming. That's what this is.
Yeah.
It's like Tomb Raider.
This is Jeep Simulator.
Except in a Jeep, like driving this Jeep all over the place.
Don't forget the winch.
Yep. Using winches, hot winch action.
Woo! Winch on winch.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Well, more like winch on tree, but yeah.
There's some lemurs or some.
Because no game is complete without a ring-tailed lemur.
That's right. They just don't have enough these days. So yeah, but the main crux of this is Drake and Sully and Drake's brother, whose name I keep forgetting, tooling around trying to get from one place to another.
Drake's brother. I see.
Yep.
I see.
And I like they have a lot of little kind of just little flavor text, little flavor conversation
they're just chatting
that's
it
in
away
there.
The whole time.
Yeah. Where there's places where Drake stops the car and goes to do something and they're just having a conversation.
I love the stone piles. I cannot remember what the actual verbiage is, what those are called, but those have significance in many cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen some of those recently on the film sets that I've been working on. The cave film that I was shooting, we went to a cave in West Texas that there were a huge set of them spread throughout where
just stones vertically piled up.
The piles of them. They actually, different markers mean different things. The fact that they incorporated that into the game, I really liked it.
I
can't wait to play it.
I thought it was great. And then there's this one part kind of early on where Drake just kind of just knocks one over. I'm like,
I know. I saw that. I was like, ah!
Hey man, I thought you were all about the past and stuff.
No, but then he just charges right on in and is just climbing all these structures and destroying them. And
actually, yeah, but that's I guess that's kind of the difference is that Naughty Dog did well when they recontextualized Drake from Indiana Jones was supposed to be an archaeologist, and yet it seems like every time he touches something, it ends up blowing up towards the end.
Yeah,
Drake is a treasure hunter, so it's kind of like, well, I'm looking for this gold.
I appreciate it. I'll get out of my way.
I drew it in my notebook, so it's fine. Let's just destroy it. It's fine. And then towards the end, so they spend, probably a good 10 to 15 minutes of this particular 16-minute trailer kind of driving around and doing stuff. And then at the very end, they have a kind of a little combat sequence that, again, shows that it looks like they're really incorporating stuff from The Last of Us into the combat here, because The Last of Us had this whole stealth mechanic to it where you didn't want to, we're trying to take guys out without getting seen. And here they kind of run across this outpost and climb and jump and grapple hook and
the wedding ring. He gets married.
Oh, I think that I don't
catching up to do, folks.
I don't think he's married at the end of 3, but I think that that's part of the plot of this one. So there were some earlier parts that showed. Is it Homegirl, the journalist chick? Yes.
Yeah. I don't like her.
I have a feeling. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this out there, and then you can come back later and tell me.
Sure.
I have a feeling that you are really going to like Chloe. Who is Drake's ex-girlfriend who shows up at the beginning of Uncharted 2.
Oh, okay.
I have a feeling that that's going to be
because I didn't like what's
Elena.
Yeah, I don't like her.
She's a little white bread. She's a little basic, but
yeah. And then that whole I've only got one hand free and I've got to drop the camera into the ocean after carting it along forever. Like, why don't you have a fucking handle on it?
Yeah, or like one of those straps.
Jesus.
Every
journalist worth their salt, man. You're carrying around $1,000 worth of camera. You have a strap.
Yep.
It's your own fault.
Everything you buy has a strap these days.
Mad about it. Anyway, moving on.
But one of the things that I actually really like about this is that it seems like they've incorporated a mechanic from the Far Cry series where when you look at people kind of in this combat arena, that it kind of marks them and then you can see them.
I see that.
Like there's a part later on where he's got the sniper rifle where he's
sexy. I love the sniper rifle.
Looking at people and then see it puts a little chevron over their heads so you can track them from place to place.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So Uncharted 4 is shaping up to be incredible.
It's going to be amazing.
Also, that grappling hook.
That grappling hook, though.
Goddamn.
Sexy.
So
the first game is actually pretty short. I've played through it, and it's going to be 4 sessions total. Mm-hmm. Maybe 10 hours.
I think that Grant and I think the second and third ones are slightly longer, but they're all about that same.
Okay.
That same length. Grant and I played all the way through Uncharted for a sequential Saturday a while back, but It's funny. After watching this, there's a part of me that almost just went out and digitally bought the collection on the PS4 to be like,
you can borrow mine when I'm done with it.
But then I remembered that, just Dark Souls 3 is a thing.
Oh, yeah. It will steal your soul.
Yeah. All right. So next up, how about some Fallout news?
That trailer was super cute.
Trailer for the new Fallout where what's the name of this thing again?
What is it?
Wasteland Workshop.
Yeah, there you go.
Which expands what was, in my mind, the least interesting part of the entire Fallout 4, which was building stuff.
You seem more of like a run and gunner.
I do. And this particular mechanic never really worked super well for me. The building a house, I'm like, well, I mean,
I don't know. I have many friends that are religious with this game series, and I can't say that I know any of them that ever talk about that segment of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about every other piece of it, and I've never heard anybody just wax poetic about building their base or anything.
The thing that I had was I spent a lot of time the first time I played through it doing it, and then it just didn't have a lot of benefit because I'm not, I go back there to craft a few things, but then I leave and go do stuff in the wasteland. So there's also seems to be this heavy thing,
Kitty!
Yeah, that where you can capture animals and raiders and things, and then use them, unleash them.
Gladiator death matches.
Yeah, somebody I think this was off of a Kotaku article, but somebody in the Kotaku article was like, if we can't have Kitty versus Deathclaw fights, then this is the worst DLC of all time.
Do it.
I don't know. This one,
Kitty will win every time.
This one seems a little bit less interesting to me. The last one was robots.
It's filler. It's just color.
Yeah.
Color text.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be the one that's like $5.
So do we know about how far along they are as far as how much content they're going to put out for the game and how much they have put out already?
Sort of. I think, okay, so if memory serves me correctly, the season pass for Fallout 4 is going to include at least 3, maybe 4 DLC packs. The Automatron came out a couple weeks ago, and then Wasteland Workshop comes out towards the end of the month, and then they've got another one that's like a much larger expansion called Coastal something or other. And then I think there might be one more, because if it's these 3, I mean, I can't imagine, but they upped the price of their season pass from $30 to $50.
Oh.
Because they said when they looked at what they wanted to do, that was going to cost more, and so they said anybody who previously purchased it at $30 got it, but then at a certain point,
they had to up it. Sure.
Right. But the first one of these, the Automatron, was $10, and this is $5. So unless I'm missing one other one, unless I'm just not thinking of one, that would mean that the third one, if there's only 3, would have to be worth $25, which is a whole game on Steam, So
right.
I don't know.
So interesting. I like that hold screen there. She's hot.
A little kind of Rosie the Wasteland Riveter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Girl.
So yeah, that's coming out. Also, in further Bethesda news,
oh yeah.
So Bethesda had their first conference last year at E3, where they announced Fallout 4, and this year they're having another one. And today they announced that, like last year, if you live in LA, you could just sign up and you can go to their conference and play some of the games.
17 and older.
Yes. So
they're streaming it also.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody streams them. Because that's the whole reason that they're there. But
the film crew that I've been working on, that K film, it's a VR film. So we're releasing all. They, I believe, are doing 4 films total. They're in production of the 2nd right now, and then I'm booked for 2 more between now and June. They're releasing all 4 of them at E3, so I'm going to be at E3.
Oh.
But as far as I know, we're going to be there. What is it? It's that Tuesday that it starts?
Yeah. The conference is
the Sunday before.
Yes.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to be there for the conference, although that would be amazing if I would be able to be there. I don't know. I might just try to fly up early and just go.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I want it.
So you're gonna have you're probably gonna have an exhibitor badge for E3,
yes.
which means you'll be able to roll around and do
all of the things,
do other stuff.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what things at E3 they haven't announced yet would be interesting. I do wonder, though. I don't think Bethesda usually isn't fast enough that they couldn't possibly have a new Elder Scrolls game ready to show. They take years to put these things together. Last year they announced Fallout 4, Doom, the new Wolfenstein.
Oh, that I like.
Or wait, was there a new Wolfenstein? Was it maybe the expansion? I don't know.
Something to do with it.
Just go play Shadows of Mordor 2 and tell me how it is. That's all I really care about.
I'm about to play the first one.
Oh, it's so good.
I'll have to play that before June so that I can check it out beforehand. So yeah, come to E3 and hang out.
There you go.
Say hi.
Speaking of E3, well, actually, before we move on, actually, now that I think about it, you might want to go out and look because as near as I can tell, I think that this year, both EA and Activision are doing like most of their stuff off-site of E3.
Oh.
I think I'll check on that and get back to you because I seem to remember reading some stuff where they were like, some of the big names were actually saying, why are we bothering to shove all this stuff into the convention center when we could just rent space 2 blocks down the street and devote it all
close
to our stuff.
I mean, if it's a walkable distance, I'm fine with it. But if it's like on the other fucking side of the world, then damn.
I don't think they would do that. I mean, everybody, all the journalists that go to E3 are going to be staying downtown anyway. So
that's
I'm pretty
what
sure
I figure.
It's close.
Like, I just keep it close, please. Just keep it close.
Yeah. But speaking of stuff that hasn't been announced yet, there's some.
I'm excited about this one.
There's some leaky leaks that indicate that there might be a God of War 4.
There's gonna be a God of War 4
coming, and that it's based on Norse mythology instead of Greek mythology. Which I believe, if you go back 3 years and listen to me on the Spill Loading Bar podcast, that I said something along the lines of like, why not just have Kratos murder everybody in every mythology?
Why not?
Just walk through. We could go to Norse, and then we can go to, I don't know,
my friend set are going to be so excited to hear about this one in particular. So I've been doing the Ren Fair this season, and the Sherwood Forest Fair that's right outside of Austin, it's in Bastrop, is it's the Sherwood Forest. So it's the year 1195, and it's King Richard the Lionheart and the treaty between France and England and all that business. So they have a Viking camp.
Okay.
And one of my dearest friends who's in my Dungeons and Dragons group, he was on their staff this year as Yeagle, who was this historical Viking warrior and poet.
Okay.
Because poetry was like the highest form of art in their culture.
Sure.
So they have this Viking camp set up, and so between myself and him and our whole little Wild Rovers clan of people that were at the fair together this season, we did a lot of research and studying on Norse mythology because he was in the Viking camp, and we were trying to make it really authentic for him.
Sure. So
the fact that I've been immersed in that culture this year, and now hearing that this is probably where the new game is going to go, like with that direction. Oh, I'm so excited about it. It's such an interesting and beautiful culture. I've always dug Norse mythology. It's beautiful.
It's funny you say that, and then all I can think of is like, it's such an interesting culture, and Kratos is just going to murder
the fuck out of everything.
All of it. But
what he better do is he better take people's swords out of their hands before he kills them, so that they can't get to Valhalla, because that's just the ultimate. The ultimate form of dickery.
Insult to injury.
Yes, it better happen.
So this actually seems pretty legit. There was a Twitter user called Shinobi602 who's previously leaked accurate informations about the God of War games, who said something about it. And then there's a website called Nerd Leaks that found, and this is like one of those, I swear to God, LinkedIn profiles and like people's personal websites are how it seems like all this stuff gets leaked out, because
dang, I need to pay more attention to my LinkedIn then.
It's just a content artist who had like a thing that wasn't super public on his website that is all of this concept art that seems to be devoted to.
It's beautiful art. It's super beautiful art.
Yeah, just Norse stuff and Kratos. So,
because Kratos,
dude, Kratos is going to go to Valhalla and cut off Zeus's head, or Odin's head, take his eye patch, and wear it on his butt.
Wear it as a man.
That's
man
right.
Thong.
So yeah, that's exciting. I mean, it's been a while since there's been God of War 3 was the last like full numbered sequel.
That was 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
PlayStation 3. I mean, it was a PlayStation 3 game. And then the other ones have been kind of like meh. So I would like it if God of War kind of came back as a thing, because God of War 1 and 2 were freaking bananas awesome.
They were such good games. It's games you can just play over and over and over again because they're so damn good. Yeah,
just real fun. And Kratos is a character that does not deserve to wallow in cheap knockoff sequels. I mean, okay, Ascension in those games,
go home.
they were okay, but Kratos needs to be in the best game, right? In a game that you could be like, I'm putting this on my Game of the Year list.
Yes.
Speaking of what's going to be on my Game of the Year list,
really,
Nioh.
Really, your Game of the Year list.
Okay, so I probably, when I sent you the email that had a list of all of these things, I probably should have indicated a little something about Nioh. So this is a new game by Team Ninja. The news here is that there's an alpha coming at the end of the month on the PlayStation 4, but it doesn't look quite this way in this trailer, but in the previous trailers, this thing looks like it's like a full Dark Souls style combat. And that's the thing with a heaping helping of kind of other mechanics.
Oh, look, it's different.
Yeah. But this is the one, for those of you who have forgotten, that's kind of like it kind of looks like Onimusha, except like
I see that
way bigger and bloodier.
As one does.
Yeah. Feudal Japan, fighting demons, jumping around, ninjas, sword ninjas. And also cute puppy dog magic, as well as full-on shark magic, which I do
enjoy shark magic.
Did you watch this trailer?
I did.
Towards the very end, dude busts out that shark magic, and it's like shark magic, and then like he busts out puppy magic. So there's a shark magic.
There's a shark.
Yep. And then he busts out like tiny puppy dog magic.
Yes.
And then like bird magic.
That's a phoenix.
Yep. So
total phoenix.
This game, if you've got a PlayStation 4, let's see. Let me make sure that people have the dates for this. It's going to be busy. What is it? April 26th through May 5th.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Yeah.
I want to play it.
Yeah.
I'll try it.
Nioh.
Heck yeah.
Looks good. All right, next up.
I've actually never gotten in on a game beta except for back in the day Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, I was visiting some friends in the neighboring fraternity chapter, and they had the beta, and I played that for like a week and a half straight. So I've never actually
World of Warcraft?
No, Warhammer.
Warhammer. Okay,
Warhammer.
Sorry.
I really enjoyed that. That's the only game of that style I had ever played and ever enjoyed.
Which one? The real-time strategy game? Well, there have been a million of them.
This was back in, it would have been 2009 or 2010.
So was it like a real-time strategy game? Like StarCraft?
It was like an MMO style game. Let me find a...
Warhammer?
MMO? I don't believe that it lasted all that long.
Oh, wow. They canceled
you
that
could play, you could.
game,
you didn't have to play against people. You played on your own, and there were lots of quests. And
Yep, I remember. Nope, I know. It's not 40K, old timey Warhammer. I remember that. My friend played in it. Yep, you could be Chaos, or you could be I know,
yes,
or elves
one.
or
yes,
orcs or stuff.
Yes.
Yep. Well, you know what? I think that if you have PlayStation Plus, you have a PlayStation 4. I mean, the Battleborn open beta is just rolling right now, but.
You'll have to show me how to do that, because I want to get in on the current Gameage. I want to do that thing.
Yeah,
I want to do that thing.
Yeah, just go to New Games and download everything.
Okay.
All right. Next up, let's see. This is a trailer for a game.
I don't know how I feel about this.
It's a little strange. It's called The Bunker.
I just don't know how it's gonna. My brain can't be wrapped around it yet.
Yeah, it's a little strange. This is apparently going to be like a full-on live action. In the past, when there's been full-on live-action video games, they have not been super great. Because
how many of them are there?
Well, I mean,
I've never seen one.
It used to be a sort of thing that you would see all the time. Back before graphics got real well, you would see this kind of real low-rent video. And so they would usually play either like Dragon's Lair, where it's like you just have to hit a direction when indicated or else you'll die. Okay. Or they would play like real kind of cheesy, like video would play and then it would kind of stop and then you would do a few things and then it would continue on with more video, which kind of seems to be what this is going for.
I see.
Except that it's actually being worked on by some folks from The Witcher and Soma. And
those are great games.
Yeah,
so I'm intrigued.
It's got Adam Brown. I'm not sure who that is.
I didn't know him.
But and then Sarah Green, who was in Penny Dreadful, which I haven't seen either.
Oh, you need to see that.
I hear good stuff.
Being one who likes like mythology and folklore and that blending of urban fantasy genres, it's It's
pretty good.
Watch it.
Okay. So from the news story that I got this from, it seems like this is from the Game Informer article. The player will guide John through the bunker, confronting his suppressed memories in order to survive the increasingly horrific underground. Gameplay will involve puzzle solving as well as item discovery in order to trigger flashbacks, all while gaining important information about the darker depths and secrets of the bunker, specific consoles and mobile devices, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it seems like it's going to be a puzzle game, right? Seems like it's going to be either Walking Dead style puzzle or like Sam and Max style puzzle where you got to find a thing and use it on another thing, or the Witness style. I don't know. But it seems like...
I don't know what to think.
I don't know. It's one of those things
creepy.
where...
It's definitely creepy. Watch it with the lights off and scare yourself shitless.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
anything that's called the bunker, just no. Too many Silent Hill references for me.
Mm-hmm.
Too much Nathan Drake already in my life. I can't with this. No,
you're
no more.
Firmly anti-bunker. Just not.
No, I'm not. I would probably watch somebody play it rather than play it myself, so that I don't have the heart attack.
Okay.
So, like for instance, we just did a stream marathon charity fundraiser for Ryu Quetzalcoatl, who is an amazing partnered streamer on Twitch who recently lost his dad and his cat in his house in a house fire.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so the whole stream community of the Rip Runners, which is the stream team that he and East Woogie and Evil Gao have, got a bunch of streamers together, and we did 2 weeks worth of just marathon streams to raise funds for him to recover from that. So East Woogie, who is normally a Final Fantasy VII speed runner, and he does classic games and things like that, he... in honor of the Ryuthon, did Spoopy Game Night, where he just did crazy, really crazy horror games.
Okay.
I popped in and watched him do one. I think it was the first night that he had played. Mm-hmm. He got so scared at something that jumped out at him that he threw his keyboard across the room. In reaction, like total and complete, just oh god!
Was it?
And like dropped the microphone, like, and he doesn't do face cam, so we couldn't see it.
Right.
But we could hear the keyboard just launched across the room, and the microphone drop, and then just hear him just like.
Was it? Was it Five Nights or Slender, or was it something different?
So
one of the big ones?
No, it was Dark something.
Dark Souls?
No, not Dark Souls.
Dark Souls 2?
It was okay. So it's the one where you start out and it's all from your video camera, but you barely have any batteries for it. So
Outlast.
Outlast
yes.
is what he was playing.
Yes.
That game.
Was it the part where the guy jumps out of the wheelchair?
It was the beginning.
Oh, really?
The beginning of the game, I think. Unless it was the second session he had played it, and I just missed the first one.
No, I mean, that happens within the first, say, 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we played that game when it originally came out. Jason and I played it. And when that happened, our reaction to it was like, oh, hey, what's going on? And then we used to have this show called Sparkle Fandango where Allison and the ladies played, and Allison and Kristen played it. And when that happened, she just lost her mind and started screaming. And I've always kind of wanted to make a video showing, like, this is the difference between Jeff and Jason play a game. This is
that's a comparative analysis. I like that.
Yeah.
I'd be down to do something like that sometime. That
it was great.
Like fun. Yeah, it was bad. Poor guy. He wrecked his keyboard that night.
Yeah.
But all in the name of charity.
Well,
so bad.
He's gonna do it.
He had no voice. Oh, and the funniest part was for it. He set up specific notification emotes. So he normally, like, when you donate to his stream, it plays like the Pokemon theme or like the Ghostbuster theme, depending on how much you donate. So he changed it to like horror sounds.
Oh, cool.
And he forgot to change it back the next day for his regular stream. So we were just joking about setting up like a hype train where a bunch of people just donated one after the other. And he had forgotten to change it back. So out of nowhere, this like, thing comes on his screen, and you just hear him just, oh god, I thought I'd changed that back. I thought that I had changed that back. And so he thought, so then he paused so that he could change it, and he thought he had changed it back, but apparently he had set up 5 or 6 different ones. So one of his donators, who is just mean and adorable and hilarious, just kept donating one thing after another, like every 5 minutes, and just scaring the pants off of East Woogie. Poor guy. He lost like 5 years of his life because of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not
scary games.
I'm just not as scared by scary games, but
I've deliberately not played them, so I don't know. Maybe I'll play one if people ask. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, so let's see. We're starting to get a little bit low on time, so we're going to zip through a few of these stories pretty quickly. So Steam crapped up my Steam library this week with 120 VR games because the Vive came out, which kind of sucks because when I'm looking for new stuff to play, it's like, okay, VR.
A friend of mine got one.
Hey, put this in a different category for those of us that can't afford this the $800.
We'll just look at it longingly.
VR. Yeah.
Somebody send us one, please.
Somebody actually
send it to us
last week, or in the comment section to one of the things that we did was like, let's do a fundraiser to buy Jeff both the VR and a new computer to run it on. I'm like, I could use that money for so many things.
No, just donate it. Just let it show up on the doorstep.
Yeah, just make an Amazon wish list with 2 things on it:
Seriously,
a new computer and a VR headset.
That's all we need. Goals, stream goals.
But a lot of these things. I mean, I've looked at a lot of these things, and some of them are interesting. Some of them still kind of seem like tech demos that they want people to buy.
Sure. I mean, it's baby stage.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of tech demos, this is a new software that John has been telling me about that apparently is going to be that is free that you can get right now called Forge, that you can just install on your PC and then stream directly to Twitch or YouTube or capture stuff. So if you are a person with a personal computer and want to stream on Twitch and get the pants scared off you by notifications, download Forge. I don't know. I've been thinking about using it, but
let me know what you think about it if you do. Maybe we should do a stream together sometime with it and test it out.
Yeah. I mean, John has been using it. He sent me a beta invite for it.
Oh.
The main thing is just that since I bounce between so many different consoles, using my my AverMedia box is usually easier because,
I see.
Some Sundays it's PlayStation 4, some Sundays it's,
sure.
PC or whatever. But hey, you people out there, there it is.
It's the thing. Do it.
All right, now we're going to get into a whole bunch of rumors and announcements and
the rumor mill,
general things.
Water cooler.
Pretty sure this is not a rumor, but Hand of Fate is getting a sequel, and that is going to make John very happy. Have you ever?
It'll be real good. I've not played it, but I want to now.
Oh, it is real good.
It's real good.
It's real good. It's kind of like Arkham Asylum style combat, but then in between, it's got this whole like playing a card game with this guy.
It's very Final Fantasy VIII. I love it.
It's fantastic. So that's great because this was a real fun game. Or I only played it a little bit on a live stream, but like John is just mad about this game. So
I found it funny that came up today for the news when I just had my tarot read last weekend at Ren Fair because I won a gift certificate to have the thing done, and it was actually fabulous. So I found it funny that that's coming up right now.
Okay,
cards, they're everywhere.
Next up, so this is a really weird story. We reported on this 3 or 4 weeks ago. There's a game called Fable Legends. The company that was making it apparently got dissolved and shut down, and the game got canceled. Do you know about Fable Legends?
I don't.
Okay, so this game was supposed to be an asynchronous multiplayer game where 4 people play as just like a third-person action, like one person's kind of a wizard, one person's a warrior, one person's kind of a thief. And then on the other side, you've got a person with like an iPad who is playing the like dungeon master using these preset tools to like kind of throw enemies in your way and try to thwart you, right? Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So it seemed like an interesting concept. I always said it could go either way. Like it could end up being something that was boring or it could end up being something that was fun. John got a chance to play it, and he said that it was really fun, but he was in the closed beta. He couldn't talk about it, and then they canceled it. Well, apparently there's this new real weird thing here where, let me make sure that I've got this correct. MCV, okay, I'm just going to read this verbatim. MCV is reporting from multiple sources that discussions are ongoing about ways to save the game from oblivion. According to MCV, contracted workers have already departed the studio, but employees may have an option to stay on rather than accept a severance package. So,
interesting.
This is Game Informer. According to MCV, the likely scenario is that Lionhead employees would be granted permission to continue work on the game independently. We've reached out to Microsoft for comment, and we'll update should we receive a response.
Interesting.
So that's all the information that I really have, right?
Right.
It sounds to me like what they're being offered is that since Microsoft was the publisher and owns the IP, that they are able to take a severance package and leave the thing entirely, or not take a severance package and retain ownership of the game property to shop it around to other places, which seems like a real shitty Sophie's choice to make employees make.
Seriously.
Because, what if you can't find external funding? And
so it really depends on how much you believe in the project.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
How well did the reviews for the beta go? Like, were people all digging it? Was he the only one who dug it?
The thing is that it was closed, and
so they can't talk about it really.
So yeah, most people didn't really say much about it. We don't care because it's not like Microsoft is listening to our podcast. It's,
they're listening right now. They're everywhere.
Well, I do have my Kinect plugged in, and so I kind of just assume everything I say. But anyway, I think it'd be nice if these guys get a chance to take their work somewhere else, because it sounds like if it was in this closed beta, that means that it was fairly feature complete and pretty close to getting towards release.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if Lionhead could take it.
We need more games that are D&D-esque in content and nature. Folks, message Microsoft. Tell them to bring this game back. Tell them to do it.
I've been waiting for that for years, for a game that actually does the whole kind of Dungeon Master thing right.
Seriously.
Anyway, let's see. Next, there's probably going to be a BioShock collection.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, really.
There's an ESRB.
Everybody else is doing it. Just come hang out with the cool kids.
Yeah, don't you want to be cool? 2K. So there's an ESRB listing for BioShock the collection that seems to be BioShock 1, BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, and probably all the DLCs that come with it. I like BioShock. I'd love to have BioShock on the PC, BioShock Infinite on the PC looks real good. The original BioShock's still one of my favorite games.
Great games, hold up well. Everybody enjoys playing them. They're beautiful. I mean, why not?
I even like BioShock 2. I mean, not as much as 1 or Infinity. Wait, what was it? What was the third one? BioShock Infinite.
Like
I just said
that
it.
One, yeah. Words are hard.
Yeah. But I thought BioShock 2 was a lot better than people gave it credit for. Everybody, I remember writing into...
always judge the sequel harsh.
Well...
It always happens.
I remember writing into... the only time I've ever submitted a question to another podcast was on the Giant Bomb podcast, where they were talking about BioShock 2, and they're just like, who needs another BioShock? We've already have one in this universe. Who wants to see more of this dumb universe? And I was just like,
oh, mean.
I do. I really like this universe.
Sad. Don't hate on my universe.
Yep. So here's what you were talking about. June 28th, 2016, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness.
So pretty.
And a special edition with all of the art books and boxes and
CDs. Soundtrack babies.
Yeah, Pan Galactic Federation ID card.
I don't know about that, but I mean, yeah. I dig it. It's pretty, and it's only $100.
I haven't been keeping up with this, but it seems like they just announced this not that long ago.
I think so. I mean, I know a couple people that have already gotten it, so it's been out for a while.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm so used to, you hear about a Square game, then you wait for a full decade for that game to be released.
Sure.
So
this one's been on my wish list for a minute.
Yeah. So this is
so pretty.
What, we're in April, May, June, 2 months,
2
right?
months from now, yeah.
Yep. I don't know. Did you see the? I don't even. There's a controversy with this as well, but I'm not going to talk about it.
I didn't know about that. We'll talk about that next time then?
I'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it during the break, and then we can decide where we talk about it when we come back from the break. How
Fair
about
enough.
that?
I like it.
All right, so here's a crazy thing. I actually put this story on the list of things to talk about this week, but then didn't actually read it until right before we started. So Life is Strange. Have you played it?
I have seen people play it.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
Okay.
It's interesting. It intrigues me.
Grant and I played it. It was, people loved us because we were just
addicting.
Like teenage girls, blah, apparently, so this guy started a Kickstarter, and I didn't realize this when I first brought this up. Like, the headline on this was like, $2,000 fan Kickstarter campaign for Life is Strange sequel canceled. And the word fan didn't really like register in my mind.
Right,
okay.
That it wasn't the company making it. It was somebody who just really loves it and wanted the game to be a thing.
The guy started a Kickstarter trying to raise $20,000 in a way to try to like get that money and then give it to the developers.
Right.
Which, I mean, from what I know, $20,000 isn't a lot for a game like this.
No. I mean, that's like barely anything. It's like a scratch in the surface of what you need for a game. But I guess it's just an attempt to say like, hey, we care about this thing. It's like those campaigns that go around on Facebook or whatever. Sign this campaign if you want there to be this thing.
Right. It was so weird to me because it was like he was promising like stretch goals of you're going to get the game for this amount of pledge, and like there was a $10,000 thing that was like, and then you can write the backstory for this character, and it was like, dude, your Kickstarter is writing checks that you're publisher is not going to deliver. So
that's interesting.
Apparently it went up and then almost immediately was taken down, which I'm sure was just the developer
they
going
cease and desisted, yeah.
No. Or just saying no. I mean, there was a story a while back of a guy who put up a Kickstarter to try to raise money he wanted to make a Star Wars RPG and was like, I am in no way affiliated with Disney or LucasArts, and I'm just going to make the best Star Wars RPG of all time with all your favorite characters or whatever. And it was just like, how do you think this is going to be a thing?
It's cute that you think that, friend.
That's just...
They're all cute.
Oof. All right, so speaking of crowdfunding campaigns, the Rock Band 4 PC Fig campaign.
Dunsky.
Yep, they were looking.
It was going to happen.
They were looking for $1.5 million. They got about half of that. So
just play it on PS4 already.
Yeah. Oh, you don't talk with that many people with PC Master Race people, do you? No. They want everything on the PC.
I know. Well, you can't have everything you want.
Yep. So
always get what you want.
That is a shame. And then this is another one that I didn't get a chance to send to you because it just came up today. But there is going to be a Kickstarter campaign. There is not one yet, but by the time this goes up, there might be one for a new Fear Effect game.
Fear Effect like Mass Effect?
No.
I don't know this one.
Fear Effect is an old PlayStation 1 franchise that was kind of like a third-person action game. Yeah, it has a very distinctive hardline, cell shading art style, and it's got these kind of like these lady spy main characters. So yeah, it's called Fear Effect Sedna, and there's a Kickstarter that's going to be going up for that soon.
I'd play that. That looks groovy.
Yeah, and this is actually
PS4.
Probably. Let's see. Fear Effect Sedna's Kickstarter starts on April 12th, so it'll be a little ways from here. And this is part of the Square Enix Collective program. Oh. So it's actually under, because I'm pretty sure this was maybe originally a Square Enix property, that it's under Square Enix's crowdfunding banner, where if they can get 100,000 euros, then I think that means that Square will then kick in the rest of what they need to make it.
Nice. Okay,
so,
that's safe.
Yeah. For those of you who've never heard of Fear Effect before, I mean, just there's a little teaser trailer out there, but you can go watch other stuff.
Looks sassy.
I know that it's a game series that had a fan base, but all right, we got two more stories in there. Just the end. This is just the icing on the podcast. One, California congressman's dumb teenage kid spent $1,300 on Steam games.
As one does. Hey, that's what he gets for leaving his damn credit card out. Who leaves their campaign credit card just lying about?
Yep. Apparently, there was a quote where they said that they're already trying to return all of them to Steam to get their money back. But
Steam's probably like, nah, bro, you bought that shit.
Well, Steam has very specific. They have very specific return policy, right? You have to have played the game for under a certain amount of time and had it for less than a certain number of days, and if not, you bought the game. But I find this is great. Because apparently, this California representative's kid just went on Steam and bought a bunch of stuff with campaign finances. That sucks. I'd rather see a kid get a bunch of Steam games than some attack ad in California. I don't know. I don't care.
I mean, there are worse things.
Yep. And last but not least, we're talking about fan Kickstarters. So,
this one.
I don't know if you know the full story about this, but so of all the Metal Gear games in the world, only Metal Gear 1 doesn't have a proper HD remake. 2 and 3 and Peace Walker all got HD treatment on the PlayStation 3. 4 and 5 were both, 4 was on the PlayStation 3, so it was already in HD, and 5 was PS4. But 1, really, there's only 2 versions of it. There's the original PlayStation version, and then there is the Twin Snakes version that came out on the GameCube.
Right.
Which I've talked about this numerous times. Twin Snakes is altered in a bunch of ways, and while I don't necessarily have a problem with that, I wish there was an HD version of the original, just the way that it was set up.
Sure.
So these guys took Unreal Engine 4 and they decided, we're going to remake Metal Gear Solid 1. And then they did a stupid thing and they put out a trailer showing how much they had done. And then they immediately got jumped on by Konami, who said, nope, that's our property.
Shit. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's my shit.
So apparently that same team has now decided to kind of resurrect the project as as Metal Gear, what is it called?
VR Museum.
A Metal Gear Solid Museum. And they've got a little trailer here that shows what looks like the environments that they had built for the game, but they've got like a bunch of posters up inside of the environment. So this is like the original elevator that goes out.
It's interesting to me, it being VR.
Yeah. Well, apparently,
how do you interface with that? How do you move about in it? How quickly does it go? That's interesting to me. I don't know.
No, if it's anything like most of the VR experiences is just you hold a controller and move around with the controller, and then you can kind of turn your head. But the most interesting thing,
there's nobody around. It's just posters.
Yeah, about this. Well, there's two things that I find really interesting about this. One, apparently David Hayter signed on to actually do some voice work for this.
Oh.
The voice of Original Solid Snake.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then two, some of these environments, like that one and this last one, this is great for people that are listening audio or not seeing any video. Like there's the field from the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, which I don't think was part. That wasn't part of the
original, right?
I wouldn't think it would be. And then I think that the other one looked a lot like the tanker at the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Right.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird. But apparently this is
of all the things, maybe
coming out in May, and they're not selling it. They're just putting it out for free.
Just saying, here you go, friends.
Yeah.
Thanks for being fans.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
So
I dig it.
I don't know. Hopefully it comes out and doesn't get full on shut down.
All right, they're doing this for Metal Gear. Can I please just request something Final Fantasy in VR, please?
Oh, yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 VR, please?
Final Fantasy 7 VR support by the time it comes out on the PlayStation 4.
Sexy.
Maybe,
yes.
Yeah.
Dig it.
All right, and that, as they say, is the end of the news. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about your emails. So
we're going to talk to you.
Stay tuned.
Bye.
Back.
Did you miss us?
Yep, it's time. It's time for questions, and Jennifer, I've been doing kind of like mini game reviews during the second segment because we haven't had as many questions. All I did last week was play more Dark Souls 3, so I can't.
Big surprise!
Shock! I know.
I'm aghast.
Yes, I have though been digging deeper into that game, and it's got depths. It's got depths that I didn't really realize the first time that I played through it. Like yesterday, I decided to just play with a character with no shield and a big katana, and it was like, oh, well, this is a really entirely different experience. So,
yeah, just a little bit.
Yep. So, and I mean, we played a little Hyper Light Drifter, which is really good, but I didn't beat it. Couldn't say much about it. So we'll just have to skip that until next week.
Fine then.
Do you want to give Uncharted 1 a score?
Yes. I totally do. Okay, great.
The retro game review.
Retro game review. Woo! So I've been playing through the first of the Uncharted collection, Nathan Drake's story. It's good stuff. I love the art of the game. The game style and mechanics are beautiful. I find the jump mechanic to be a little glitchy at times. Mm-hmm. Half of the time he jumps when I want him to. Half the time he just runs to the edge and falls off. Half the time he runs to the edge, jumps straight up and down, and then walks off the edge.
There you go.
So I find the jump mechanic to be a little buggy. And sometimes the aim mechanic doesn't work as well as I want it to, which is frustrating. I loved the game up until about 87, 88%, and then zombies.
Yeah. How about
Moment of silence for zombies. Just no, why?
I've always felt like that that jet ski sequence goes on a little bit longer.
I started my day with that sequence. Thank you. Oh God, it went forever. I kept ripping. The guy with the rocket kept getting me, and then I kept running my boat into the dam. Not the dam, the crates of
like exploding barrels, mines.
Barrels. Thank you. Geez, words, Mayhem, please. That section took me at least 45 minutes to get through. It was so bad, I almost rage quit. But I got through it, and then the rest of the game was pretty damn great. I love it.
I really can't wait to hear your thoughts about Uncharted 2 because that one is so my favorite, and it starts off with a bang, and it just doesn't stop. Like I feel like it's just really excellent game. What would you give it? I don't know. Pick an arbitrary score category. Yes or no? Out of 10? Out of 5?
Definite yes. I'll give it
out of
like
0?
The 85 percentile range. Just because the mechanics are a little sticky, and I hate zombies.
Okay.
Totally personal preference. Everybody should play this game, though, especially if you like the Lara Croft Tomb Raider games. You will love this game. Okay. I like it. I dig it.
Now, did you play The Last of Us?
I have not played that one.
Okay.
The post-apocalyptic thing just isn't. It's just not my jam.
You don't like zombies.
Archaeology,
right?
I don't do zombies. I won't play Walking Dead.
Okay.
I'm weird like that. I'm a JRPG girl, mainly. So I get out of my comfort zone with like the Lara Croft games, and I love those games so much, but not so much with the post-apocalyptic.
Okay. Fair enough.
I might play one, if somebody sent me a copy, I'd play it for kicks, but it's not something I'm gonna go out of my way of. I've got too many games to play.
I know that problem.
Not enough time.
I know that problem.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's our first question. Comes in from VJ, who says, hello, priests of the dog of justice.
Oh.
VJ here. Today, my question concerns asshole friends. Back when I was a kid, my parents couldn't afford to upgrade our PC regularly, so I often had to wait for years to play my favorite games at home. In the meantime, I had to resort to playing games at my friends' places whenever possible. I had this one particular friend who always bragged about having the shiniest PC, which could run the latest games amongst other countless unverified claims. He never missed a chance to denigrate me by calling me a noob since I was bad at games, and it affected my self-esteem. At some point, I got a PC which could run Warcraft 3. I love RTS games, and my favorite thing to do was to turtle all day in Age of Empires 2 skirmishes. However, the same strategy wouldn't work in Warcraft 3, as the enemy AI was super aggressive, even on easy mode. Oh, tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I told this guy about my difficulties, and he proceeded to call me a noob. I had enough of his shit and asked for a demonstration. This clown started on high difficulty and got his ass handed to him repeatedly.
Justice.
Finally, he rage quit after losing on easy mode. We're still friends, but his berating doesn't faze me anymore.
Good.
Now is the time for you to rage on about obnoxious friends who make tall claims but can't back it up. Thanks for answering my questions, VJ. So, friends that get all uppity about their abilities in... I'm going to expand this from video games to just life in general, right? There's not specific.
I make it a point to not hang out with elitist folk. I'm just like, I'm a very happy gamer.
Yeah.
I don't judge people for having different gaming and musical tastes than I do. I'm not going to judge you for liking a different game style than I do. To each their own. It's like, I'm not going to demand that everybody enjoy pastels. Sometimes somebody just likes an acrylic or a watercolor, and that's totally awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that being said, I will say that my biggest area of conflict in gaming with friends definitely has to lie in the region of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons is a very interesting realm.
Do you have friends that don't roll their damage dice with their hit dice?
Well,
because that's the one.
Well, now that 5th edition.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean like roll them simultaneously?
Yeah. Like if you're rolling 3d6s for damage and your d20 to hit, roll all that shit at the same time.
Oh no, most of the people that I know.
Okay, so there
are so many mechanics in 5th edition, especially now, that require knowing what the result of the roll is before you determine and calculate damage. I don't know anybody that makes an issue of that. That's an interesting thing. Now I'll have to pay attention to that next time we game. But no, my biggest one was back in the day of 3.5 edition when I was in high school and we were playing every weekend. There were a lot of people that, like everybody has their different gaming styles. The same is true in Dungeons and Dragons. Sometimes people like hack and slash, just go in and rage and kill people. Some people like story building.
Sure.
And actual, like, let's roll for things that aren't in combat and things of that nature. I played with a really big group of gamers in school. There was a group of us that were, I want to say, between 8 to 12 people, depending on the day, because we were all active in different academic pursuits and things. So sometimes people would be off for competitions and not around or had life, whatever. So it varied between 8 to 12 people. We had one DM who was a former Marine who was always the DM of our group and was amazing at building stories and managing the hack and slash aspect of things. But we had some people that were just diehard, only interested in it if it's hack and slash, and then some people that were only interested in it if it was story building.
Yeah.
So, and with a group that big, it takes about half an hour per round, just to get everybody to have a turn and figure out what's going on with everything. So it took a while, and it tests your patience a lot.
Yeah.
But I had a friend in particular who, I had two guys in this group. One guy that would get so quote unquote bored with how long it would take that he would have to play World of Warcraft on his laptop while we were gaming. And then he was that guy that would stop. He would tune out everybody else's turn and not pay attention to what was going on. And then we had to explain to him everything that had just happened because he would make stupid decisions and like hold us all up. And then there was the one guy who made it his mission in life to push the mechanics of the game to their limit. Like, he didn't care about party dynamics. He didn't care about the way that the thing should go.
Yep.
He cared about, this is exactly what my character would do. Fuck you all. I'm going to do this even if it's going to wreck the campaign. And this happened over the course of the 4 or 5 years that we played together. This happened so many times. I remember we were at in a campaign. It was a homebrew that we were playing. We had gotten through the first 8 or 9 levels. So we were moderately powered. We were in a really hard dungeon, and this guy got bored and decided that he was just going to fuck all of our lives up in this campaign. So I had just gotten to the point I had a Radiant Servant of Pelor. I was just like mad bossing it, really happy with the development of this character. And then Home Dude comes in and decides to fuck with our whole world because he got bored. So the DM had to rage kill all of us in a blaze of zombies and glory. And
so he pulled a Leroy Jenkins.
He did.
Wow.
And we never forgave him because we were all really invested in this particular campaign.
Sure.
It was going down this beautiful story arc.
Yep.
Everybody was into it. And this guy just douche-moded and just had us all killed. I hate elitist gamers. I hate them. I hate them. Take all the fun out of the job.
I've told the story about 100 times, so I won't go into the details. But like, I have a friend who ruined at least 4 different campaigns that I was DMing because he wrote these characters and they were all the exact same character. My character doesn't care and will just want to kill everybody. And it's like,
I'm gonna kill your face then.
Like,
how about that?
You know, there's people in the world who are just like, you know, or there are plenty of fictional tropes of like badasses, right? But a badass is able to understand that a level 14 Lich and you're level 1, you're not gonna kill this. In fact,
you're not a badass. You are squishy.
The Lich is gonna kill you and then turn you into his servant, just
his man bitch.
Yeah, just for the sake of it. As
they
far
took all the
as
fun out of the gaming.
Yeah,
don't play well in groups. Don't play in a group.
There were so many times where it's like, oh, do we play for 6 hours? Now I have to reset the entire campaign because otherwise you guys are all dead.
Yeah.
But I think that as far as being judged, I've never felt as much judgment as before I started doing videos that were on the internet. That like I don't
surprise.
Yeah, I mean because I'm probably the person amongst my friends who takes gaming the most seriously, and most of my friends are my friends, so they're not, you know, like
they're not malicious,
right? I'm trying to think. The only time that I can think is like a couple of my friends had weird rivalries in StarCraft of like I'm better, no, I'm better. Well, then let's find out, and then we found out. Or when I first played Demon Souls and I made a big sword character, my friends were like, "That's stupid," and I was like, "Well, that's what I want to do."
Yeah,
and they were like, "Okay, well, let's play together," and I'm like, "Okay,
absolutely."
But I got to tell you, nobody in this world is more of your judgmental friend than the internet.
That's true. Everybody
swear.
has an opinion, and they all think that they're right.
I swear. It's just every so often I'll get a notification for a video that's been up for 6 months where somebody is upset that you didn't see that door, and it's like, that was 6 months ago, and it was like the first 5 minutes of me playing this game. I know that you are now a master of this game, and you're the best of all. Last week, I'll apologize to Rage Select. Last week, we had a guy in the chat room. I was playing Dark Souls 3. I was playing by myself, which means that I was manning the chat, which is never a good idea because I'll let the chat
need a co-pilot.
get to me. And there was a guy in there who was just like real judgmental about me dying over and over again using a class I'd never used before. And at the end, it just made me real frustrated, and I quit the stream 10 minutes early. I was just like, I got to.
Oh, honey.
So sorry for that, folks. I should just, you know,
See,
not listen.
I go into it with a mentality of balance. I do not claim to be an expert gamer by any means.
Sure.
But I claim to be a gamer who enjoys the process.
Sure.
I don't care if I beat it right away or if I stumble around in the dark for 5 million hours. As long as I'm having fun, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll ever be a speedrunner because I'm not about like 100% of the game. I'm going to play this shit because I love it. So I don't get mad when people are like, "Oh, you're doing it wrong." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's fine. It's cool."
It's also the sort of thing where, I mean, I just, you know, woe is Jeff for 10 seconds here. Like, there is a weird split between when I sit down and devote 100% of my brain to playing a video game, I play it usually fairly well. Like, all these games over here, I've beaten all of them. I mean, like, I'm not terrible at video games. It is a lot different when you're devoting like 50% of your brain to trying to make poop jokes. Like, and especially when you're playing something like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something that requires more of your attention. You know, there have been times when John and I are playing and I'll just keep dying and I get really frustrated because I'm like, I know I'm better than this, but usually I'm just sitting there doing nothing but playing the game instead of trying to make the aforementioned poop jokes. But,
of course, aforementioned poop jokes.
Yes. But for the most part, VJ, I don't know. Just like Jennifer here, I do not associate with people who act like this.
Just don't do it, bro.
Just be like, yeah,
just be like, bro.
Go fuck yourself.
I get that you're the god of gaming. I get it, bro. But nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it or get out.
There's a full-on attitude on the internet of people who are just like, if you're not playing it on hard and as good as me, then you're terrible. And
if you're wasting energy being a negative shit, nobody wants to play with you.
I've always kind of been of the mindset that it's like, okay, that's great. You're the best, all right? Now go be the best with all the other bests out there, and all the rest of us, we're just going to
Thunderdome it out.
We're going to play in the sandcastle on easy mode and have a great time.
That's right.
And a tea party.
That's
and
right.
Eat some grapes.
Can we have tea party next week, please?
I don't.
Tea party and wigs.
Coffee party?
I'm okay with that. You'll have coffee. I'll have tea. It's cool.
We do coffee versus tea.
There's no verses. They're both beautiful in their own right. I do both.
Beret,
both ways.
Black turtleneck, and a cigarette.
Ooh,
and
I love it. Yes,
word.
Classy.
Or like Michael Myers and So I Married an Axe Murderer cosplay.
Yes. Woman. Whoa, man.
It's like the
Whoa, man.
second CD I ever bought.
Oh,
It's so
beautiful.
good. All right, our next one comes in from Brandon. And Brandon says,
hey, Brandon.
Hello, Jeff and Jennifer. Brandon here.
Woo.
With a question mainly for you, Jeff. Oh, okay. Yes, you, because you're the only other person I've met who plays as many games as I do. So being a single male with too much money, I buy a new game every week, and I've noticed longer games that are 30-plus hours, I have a very hard time trying to get through in a week span, which leaves me to stop playing it for months afterwards. Jeff, back when you were reviewing games, how did you play through these massive games in such a small time frame? To be a little bit more exact, how much time would you spend in a single sitting? I know the logical answer would be to just stop buying a game for a week, but let us just say that I have a sickness that will keep me from spending money like crazy because I do. Thanks from your loyal patron, Brandon. So,
he has a fever, and the only cure is more gaming.
Well, I feel like this is the perfect question for you, too, because you play,
gaming.
You've said that your favorite style of games are games that are like 40 hours or more,
Absolutely.
So do you do big marathon stints, or are you able to?
So it really depends. I mean, my schedule being as chaotic as it is due to modeling and acting, sometimes I am at home, not booked on a project for a week or two at a time, and I have time to dedicate 5 to 8 hours a day to a game. And sometimes I am gone except for like an hour in the morning for a few weeks straight. So it definitely varies for me. I don't have a set gaming schedule. Having the Twitch aspect of gaming has made it a lot easier for me to consume games en masse because now it's an actual quantifiable, hey, while I'm streaming, people are donating and making money doing the thing, so it justifies the time to game, which is like a win-win. It's like, pay me to read a book. Right. Yes, please. I'm a fan of this. Spend your money here. So with streaming, I'm able to consume much more gaming, and my girlfriend is actually very much coming around. She's a decade older than I am and was not raised in a household of video gaming, so that's not a thing that she really understands.
Right.
She's not blanket opposed to it. She just doesn't have any experience with it. So I've had to go through the process of kind of introducing her to the gaming world and streaming world and all of that sort of thing. But we have a nice balance now where like I don't game in the evening when we're home together, which is fine.
Sure.
So it's only usually during the week from like 9 a.m. until 6 or 7 in the evening before she gets home that is my block of time to game. But I'm a story-driven kind of person, so I tend to like the JRPGs because they're longer and I get involved in the story and the world, and I dig that. But what I do is I don't ever go in with the intent of making it work. I only play a game if I enjoy it. Okay. So if I get through 4 hours of Final Fantasy VII and I get to a boss and I can't beat it and I get tired of it, I want to rage quit, I allow myself that freedom. I put the game back up on the shelf. I'll pull another one out, and I'll play something that's completely different for a few hours or a few days until I get tired of that one, and then I'll play something else. So I've been playing through Final Fantasy VII for like the bazillionth time since I started streaming in November, and I'm on Disc 2. I'm probably halfway through Disc 2. but I've put it up on the shelf and I haven't played it for the last month or so, but I have been playing through like Borderlands 2 and Nathan Drake, the Uncharted collection.
Right.
And I'm 90% of the way through Uncharted. And when I finish that, instead of picking up Volume 2, I think I'm going to pick up a different game series and play through that.
Okay.
So I don't go from beginning to end in one game.
Okay.
Because I get burnt out of it. It's like eating cheesecake every day of the week.
Sure.
You love cheesecake. You fucking love cheesecake because it's delicious. But you don't want cheesecake for dessert every day of the week because then you get bored of cheesecake.
Absolutely.
So you have cheesecake once a week. And then you go and you have crumpets, or you have tea, or you eat a cheeseburger or something. You know, you cleanse
metaphors
the palate.
are so complicated.
They are. You cleanse the palate a little so that you come back to that cheesecake when you want it, and then it's like, oh fuck, this cheesecake, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah. Just pick it up, play it when you want to, put it back on the shelf when you're done with it, and come back to it when you have the desire to play it again. Like, don't force yourself to play it because that takes all the fun out of gaming.
Yeah, your attitude is so refreshingly like a sane human being.
Sane is a liberal term. I wouldn't say that applies.
My answer is a little bit more insane in that
surprise.
Yeah. See, I think one of my problems with JRPGs, right? And the reason that I haven't played as many of them recently is because the only thing that can keep me, back when I was doing game reviews, like I remember the week that Dragon Age 2 came out, and Dragon Age 2 was like 30 hours, and I wasn't feeling it by hour like 4, but I was still just like, just
grind,
keep going. But for something like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3 most recently, it's very different. Okay, I have a certain amount of time during the week that I have to record, and then the rest of the time, if a game really gets its hooks into me, I will forget to eat. I will not sleep very much, and I won't even really smoke all that much because I'll just be sitting in front of the game going like, duh.
Absolutely.
Like I'm on my 7th.
You get into it, and then you forget the world.
Yeah, and I think that for me, I'm in a unique position to the point where I don't really have to make a choice between my life and video games because my life is
video games.
Mostly video games at this point. So, yeah. In fact, there have even been times where when Dark Souls 3 came out, this is such a weird, dumb choice problem to have where I'm sitting there playing Dark Souls now. I'm like, hey, I thought I was going to go down and read my book and have a couple of beers tonight down at the bar. And then I'm playing Dark Souls 3 and I'm looking at the time and I'm like, it's 10. I can go down. It's like, all right, I'll go down at 11. And then I'm playing Dark Souls 3 and I'm like, it's 11. And I'm like, I'll go down at midnight. And then it's like 12:30. And I'm just like, can I take Dark Souls 3 to the bar with me? But then I remember that the only times in my life that I've ever tried to play a Souls game when I was wasted, it was just like die,
Imagine
death.
That.
Yeah. But generally speaking, I don't know. I'll give any game 8 to 10 hours because that is, even back when I had a day job, that's like 2 full evenings if you just devote it to like, I'm going to get off work, I'm going to come home, I'm going to, take care of everything. Sure. I'm just going to sit down and play this game for 5 hours straight, and then tomorrow I'm going to play the other 5 hours and beat it. For longer games, like I think the only other game besides Dark Souls that I'll play that's more than 10 hours this year is probably going to be Persona 5. And it's been just because I like Persona so much.
It's a great system.
Even Final Fantasy Type 0, like I played an hour or 2 worth of it and was like, this seems interesting, but I don't know if it's interesting enough for me to devote that amount of time to it.
That's the next one on my list. I think as soon as I finish Uncharted, that's going to be the next game I play.
I'm trying to think, is there something recently that came out, a JRPG that came out? No, my brain's just making stuff up.
So I guess I would say in that whole conversation, you have to diagnose the different types of games and figure out which suit your particular skill set and interests.
Yes.
Some people like me dig the long games, the JRPGs, but because of that, if I were on I usually buy a game a week kind of schedule, I would recognize, okay, if I'm going to play this game and I'm intent that if I buy a game, I'm going to go beginning to end and finish it.
Right.
I would say I recognize that normally games run 5 to 10 hours. So if I buy this game that's a JRPG that's expected to be 30 hours, I'm going to, instead of buying a game next week, I'm going to dedicate 2 weeks to this game.
Right.
So that you have the expectation that it's going to take you longer, but that's not a bad thing. You're just budgeting your time in a different manner.
Absolutely.
And then maybe the next week after that, after you finish that longer game, you buy a game that's shorter with the intent of getting through that grind in a week. So taking the time to research the game that you're buying is really crucial in that element. Figuring out, okay, is this one that's going to take 5 to 10? Groovy. I can crunch through this in a week. Tasty. Or this is one that's going to take me 2 weeks. Maybe I want to hold off this week and I don't want to play a game for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to play another week worth of a short game. And then maybe next week I'll play a long game and play that for 2 weeks. And then the week after that, I'll play another game for 1 week.
It's actually, I mean, I feel like it's, for you, Brandon, I don't know if you probably aren't streaming or whatever, but back before I was streaming, I was a lot less frenetic with this stuff, where it would be like let's say that I picked up Persona 5, right? And then the week after that, just, I don't know, a new Batman game or something came out, right? I'd be like, well, I have Persona 5, so I'm just going to dedicate a few months to beating Persona 5, and then when that time is over, then I'm going to go get all the rest of those games and play them all back to back, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
I'd rather have too many games to play than no games to play. But with doing Rage Select, it's like I have to have 2 or 3 big games every week to go through. So I end up like ignoring some games that I probably wouldn't have in other cases. So anyway, but that's probably enough of that. Thank you, Brandon, for your question.
I like that question, Brandon. You should come hang out in my Twitch stream so we can talk more about that.
You should. She streams a lot more than I do, and she doesn't rage quit nearly as much.
I
if
don't.
At all.
I don't. I very rarely rage quit. The Mayhemians keep me sane.
There you go. All right, our next one comes in from Julio, who says, "Hey, Jeff and Jennifer, I have a kind of long question, if you don't mind. First off, let's see, if you don't mind." First off, it's okay. I don't know if Julio's okay. This is all just one big block of text. Julio used some periods and carriage returns. All right, so I'm just going to read this verbatim.
Grammar and syntax, friend.
First off, this is regarding Final Fantasy 15.
Yes.
I saw the whole Uncovered event live, and aside from Greg Miller and the other guy hosting, everything was motherfucking amazing.
Amazing.
The new trailers, environment videos, story details, the movie, and the anime coming out. I was just fanboying out and can't wait for the game to come out. Then I thought to myself, it could possibly turn out to be really shitty. I don't like to be a negative Nancy, but during my years as a gamer, there are always okay. Sorry, I'm just hard to read all this at one time.
Okay, take your time.
I don't like being a negative Nancy, but during my years as a gamer, there are always there are ways to make an amazing looking trailer for really bad to above average games. Okay,
sure.
I thought back to the times that I've been burned: Metal Gear Solid 2 and 5. DMC, Devil May Cry 4, Mass Effect 3, Final Fantasy X and 13, Aliens, Colonial Marines, and Dragon Age 2. Another thing that lessens my hope for the game is the change of the director. I don't like to be the asshole who corrects you, Jeff, but Tetsuya Nomura, who directed Kingdom Hearts, is not directing. It is Hajime Tabata, the guy who made Final Fantasy Type 0 and Crisis Core, two games where I hated the combat, and from the new combat system of the Platinum demo, especially with the awkward controls, it looks like I won't be enjoying this one either. By the way, if I say like some dude directed something and some other dude, you guys feel free.
Yeah, correct away.
Sometimes I get a little salty about, hey, Jeff, you're the worst of video games. But if I say something that's factually incorrect, please.
Correct away.
So, Jeff, do you think that 15 will be the legendary game that will bring back the franchise reputation, or do you think it will be the game that won't end the franchise but just put it on hold for a very long time? Also, sorry for the long question, and thanks for answering it, Julio.
Julio, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Did you play the Platinum demo that came out?
No, I did not, but I have been doing my research lately on 15, and I read through... I get the Game Informer magazine now because I have my PlayStation. You get a year subscription to the magazine when you buy it. Yeah, I think it's
GameStop's
a GameStop
magazine.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you buy your PlayStation 4 through GameStop, you get a year subscription to Game Informer, which is beautiful for me because I've been doing a lot of reading that I wouldn't get to do normally because you put it in front of my face and I'm going to read it.
Careful, if I may, just briefly about Game Informer, because there were at least 4 different video games over the course of my life that Game Informer hyped the crap out of and ended up being like just terrible.
I always
worthless
cross-reference for sure, but I can tell right away. Normally, I'm a very not impulse, but I'm an empathetic kind of gamer. I can tell right away if I'm going to dig the style of a game or not, and then I do more research. I binge research on it before I buy it because I have to know more about it before I buy it.
Good.
So that's me.
Yes.
So I've been doing my research on 15,
mm-hmm.
and the March issue of Game Informer had a really beautiful article and interview with one of the game developers for Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
The new gentleman that they got to come in, whose name I am not even going to attempt to bring up.
Okay.
He was brought in to resurrect 14 because of the atrocities that happened with 14 and how everybody hated it. It flopped. It was crazy.
Sure.
They got rid of the other people, brought in this new guy with a new outlook. And I loved the interview that they had with him.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, it looks like Square Enix is actually stopping and paying attention to their fan base and paying attention to the elements of Final Fantasy games that draw in their audience and what things endured in all of the original generation games and figuring out what to bring over from the original games to the new games and how to balance the new tech with the original stories and the original mechanics and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's very much the conversation that they are having with the Final Fantasy games right now. They, for the first time, are actually listening to feedback and paying attention to what people think and want and all of that business, which I jumped up and down and had a great conversation with my girlfriend who knows nothing about gaming or Final Fantasy. We had a great 30-minute conversation over breakfast the other day about it, and I read the article to her, and she actually was interested and seemed excited about it. So
I don't think that anybody has ever been like, hooray, the company said we're not listening to anybody and fuck you guys.
But for them to actually stop and be like, oh, we should listen to you because you're the ones buying our shit. It's great. So I think that the hype is a good thing because they're taking a new direction. They took a stop, they reevaluated, and now they're going in a different direction. So I think that this next game with 15 and with 7 Remake, I think are going to be a lot more grounded in the beginnings of the company, the beginnings of the genre. So I think that this next one is going to be fantastic.
Tell me more about what specifically you mean.
Well, for me, it's all story elements and the nostalgia factor that brings me back to Final Fantasy games. Things like chocobos, they endure, they're everywhere. And the relationships with the characters and the story-driven aspects of those games are what really get me and get me in the feels. So it seems like the story element of this game is going to be really, really great.
Okay.
The trailer that I watched and the music behind it, the feels in it, it's really pretty and very cinematic. And I have a feeling that this one's going to be great. Like, I've not paid attention to a modern generation of Final Fantasy game in like a decade. Like, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9. Yeah. And I haven't played 12 or 13 or 14. But I think I'll play 15.
Well,
I think I'll be happy with it.
14, I've played 14, and it's a little strange.
I don't MMO.
But
I don't do that.
Yeah. 13, I feel like it was just a little much. It was a little too weird future, like, people get the Lassie and then they turn into a Seath, and like it was a weird, like, just comprehending what the fuck is going on here. Like, the whole thing took place in this city that was in like a giant moon in the sky, and then there was like down on the ground, everything was crazy and blah, blah, yeah. And then 12, I feel like also, like, I feel like the parts that I liked best in 12 were there was a rakish airship captain and his rabbit lady sidekick, but then there was also like, oh, well, here's this little boy with a destiny, and I was kind of like, Japan, come on, please. And then the other side of that was like, oh, she's a princess, but she's been deposed from her kingdom and blah, blah, blah. And it was very, like, there was a lot of politics to it. Like, it almost kind of felt like some of the issues that I feel like people say they have with, like, the episode 1 of Star Wars, where it's like, I don't care about your Intergalactic Trade Federation. It's like, I don't care about the politics of your Final Fantasy world as much.
No, I don't. I feel like being able to add social commentary to a game makes it much more a learning experience for people, and it draws parallels between modern life and the game world, which I feel is vital for people that live with their heads in the clouds. You got to find some way to ground them as well. I mean, it's true. It's true.
Okay.
So I always dug that element. I mean, there was so much social commentary in Final Fantasy VII. I mean, it's rife with it.
Well, I mean, I don't think that it can't be there. I guess the thing is that 7 had... When I really think about it, the thing that really tends to that I think has disconnected a lot of people from Final Fantasy in general is that 13's primary protagonist is so emotionless. Lightning is a very like stoic soldier character, and that even though Cloud was a very stoic soldier character, you had this crazy band of misfits that he hung around with, right?
Balances,
right? That had all these individual personalities, and so I complained last week about 13 a little bit, but there's a lot of the characters in 13 that just feel like aren't super memorable. The same with 12.
Oh,
I mean, like 10, I remember the crap out of because I hate Titus so much.
Thank you. High five me.
But that was the worst high five.
Weirdest high five.
There we go.
Right, that was good. That was
I'm sorry, I don't do a lot of high fiving.
Do you rather fist bump? Is that better for you?
That's more my style.
Fist bump.
Okay, let's do that.
That was better.
But even the other characters, Yuna and Auron is a great character.
He's great.
That I remember.
Was the shit.
Yeah, Lulu's great.
Super sarcastic.
Like even the characters that I don't like in Final Fantasy X, like I'm not the biggest fan of Waka in the world.
I'm not either.
But he's funny. The irritating parts of him, I remember those more than I do.
Absolutely.
Like entire characters out of Final Fantasy 13. Like I couldn't tell you much about Hope. Or Vanille or Fang. I don't know. Anyway.
I see that. So you're wanting those story elements that give you a reason to give a shit about the character.
Well, I what I'm hoping, or what I think looks really good about 15, because I've kind of given up. I feel like Square. I feel like Square's kind of lost their mind when it comes to like RPG engines and combat systems.
Sure.
That they really don't have any idea what they really want to do. They're just doing these weird experiments.
Right.
I personally like everybody lines up in two rows and then we attack each other one at a time.
I love
like
turn-based roleplay.
Red Rover.
I fucking love turn-based roleplay, and I don't care what anybody says about it. It's my jam. I don't do well with hacky slashy in your face, too fast shit. I like turn-based.
Yeah.
Forever.
But what I really like about the idea of 15 is the intimacy of like 4 dudes on a road trip and we're all gonna get to know each other and then we're gonna be sitting around a campfire and then you're gonna tell me this dark secret about this is your girlfriend who got killed a long time ago, or like you're really into that dude over at that gas station or whatever.
It's very reminiscent of like the 1970s and 80s D&D novels, like the Dragonlance Chronicles and things that build the story up and give you a reason to give a shit about these characters and then plop them in the middle of this crazy plot to overthrow the world.
Right. So that's what I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that they're able to give these characters, I mean, from the first demo, from the episode Dusuke demo, it seems like you've got like the 3 bros. You've got one that's like the big strong guy, and then you've got one that's kind of like sciencey nerdy tech guy, and then you've got one that's like I'm a jokester. Charm, so, and then Noctis doesn't seem to have a whole crap load of personality, but a lot of times
shy dude.
That's all right.
Your internal.
You're the main character. I'll project my own personality. But as to Julio's question about do you think that 15 will be the legendary game that will bring back the franchise reputation, or do you think it will be the game that will end the franchise and put on hold for a very long time? Neither. Because I'm sure that it's going to sell a fair amount. I mean, Final Fantasy is still able to get away with just the name, right? You put out a Final Fantasy game, people will buy it. And I don't think that Square Enix is willing, unless the sales are just the most abysmal that we've ever seen out of one of these games. I don't think they'll ever. I think they're probably already starting prototyping on Final Fantasy 16, if not 2 years into development, considering how long they.
I will say that I hope they take their time. Like I'm not opposed to waiting a while between games because I want you to take your time and to make a damn good game. I think 15 is going to be better than people anticipate, but I think that 7 Remake is going to be the one that people are surprised with how well it fucking does.
Okay.
That's just my little.
I mean, I just kind of want 15 to come out because it's been in development for like a decade. So,
Oh, and how about that Florence and the Machine song?
That's the only thing.
Hell yes.
I haven't actually listened to it.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah?
Listen to it. It's fucking amazing. The whole orchestral bit and her ethereal voice is just perfect for it. It's delicious.
Okay. All right, well, let's see. Our next one comes in from Katie J, who says, Dear Knights of the Beer-Soaked Couch, I just finished the Banner Saga. I don't know if it can be a spoiler with how complex the story tree is, with it being around 2 years old, but Alette died when I finished the game. There were a lot of choices in that game that sank my heart because I was just trying to do the right thing, and double goes for the choices with Alette. The only other game I can readily think of that just beat me down with doom and gloom from my choices was Papers, Please. I'm glad to know we are getting a sequel to Banner Saga after finally playing it. My question is, in movies, books, comic books, and or games, what was the worst kick in the teeth you've ever received from a story? And I don't mean one that was sad, but one that seriously hurt you to your soul.
Oh.
Your faithful fangirl, Katie J. P.S. I'm sorry if this was a long email. Not too long.
That was a beautiful email.
Yeah.
I appreciate you already, Katie.
Yeah. So what do you think? Kick to the teeth?
Oh, God. Okay, so this is a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I grew up in the Harry Potter generation.
Mm-hmm.
I got the first book before there was ever talk of a movie, before anybody had ever heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother gave me the book my favorite uncle gave me the first book because he was like, oh, this is like the best rated book this year for somebody of your age. You should read The Thing. So I read it and loved it. And then from then on out, the first 2 books were already out. I got the third one the day it came out, which was my favorite, the third book, Prisoner of Azkaban. It's my favorite because I loved all of the backstory.
Goblet of Fire was 4 then?
Fourth book,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then The Order of the Phoenix was the 5th book.
Okay.
So I remember exactly where I was the day that all from the third book on through the end. I remember where they all were because I got all of them the day that they came out and binge read them all in one day each.
Okay.
I'm that guy. So I remember exactly where I was when I read The Order of the Phoenix. I was sitting in my dad's armchair in his living room because I was visiting my dad for the summer. And the end of that book destroyed my soul.
With Sirius Black yep.
goes through the veil and dies.
Yep.
I just sat on the couch and cried for hours about it. Like I'm just turning pages and sobbing piteously into my Cheerios. And my dad was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, Dad, it's this book that killed Sirius. Why?
This wizard died.
This is my favorite character, and I was hoping that Sirius and Remus would hook it up and be happily ever after, and it just never happened.
I think that the
so sad.
I read all the Harry Potter books and I liked them. In the beginning I was real meh about them, and then I read them and I was just like, oh yeah.
Beautiful writing, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
You're amazing. I love you.
But I think that the moment in the Harry Potter series that did that for me was in the last book. And I was just reading and having a big fight, and I'm just reading, and I'm reading, and I'm just like, whoa, back up. Did fucking, oh God, I'm so blanking on names. Helena Bonham Carter is
Bellatrix Lestrange
kills one of the Weasley twins.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the fuck? And then like Miss Weasley.
Well, there's 7 of them. Somebody's got to die.
Yeah, I know.
Statistically speaking.
But still, those Weasleys, they seem
Fred
like
and George were the bomb.
they seem like good people, and I was just like, oh man. So that was probably the part of that. As far as it's funny, when I was reading this question, the first thing that came to mind was, okay, let me get my dates correct here. Hold on, folks. Hold on.
It's already auto typing.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Is this 1986? Okay, let me just make sure. 1986. Okay, so I was 8 years old and went to the movie theater. Like you do when you're 8 years old. And it was an exciting day to go to the movie theater. It was maybe like a pee your pants, even though you're wearing big boy pants day, because my God, they made a feature-length movie out of Transfucking-Formers.
Hell yeah.
My favorite TV show. Had all the Autobots. Loved my Decepticons. Got them all. Go to the theater. I'm watching Transformers the movie. I'm hearing Stan Bush. You got Unicron. He eats a planet. What? He ate a planet. And then it's like, you get me drunk and I will talk about this all day long. And then it's like Hot Rod and Daniel, and they're doing their thing, and then fucking Stan Bush, and that kid's got a hoverboard, and the Decepticons are attacking, and then it's like, and then Optimus Prime comes down, and it's like the most beautiful moment of all time. He's Megatron must be stopped no matter what the cost. And he like transforms all slow, and he's just driving into the Decepticons. He has the best fight ever with Megatron, and it's Megatron shoots him, and then the Decepticons are driven away. And then there's a scene where Optimus Prime is in a hospital bed, and he takes the Matrix of Leadership out and gives it to Ultra Magnus. And I don't know what asshole who made Transformers the movie decided that what we needed to see after that happened was not just like Optimus Prime dies, but literally he turns into like this ashen gray color. The lights in his eyes go out. His head tips to one side, and like the only human in the room is just sobbing. And I was just like, Optimus Prime, he was my favorite. He was, that was one of those things. And so I've talked every so often, like I said, if you get me drunk and start talking about Transformers movie, I'm like, the reason that that's one of the greatest movies of all time is because they killed Optimus Prime. It would be like if the Winter Soldier started and 20 minutes into the Winter Soldier, they killed Captain America. You'd be like,
I'm sorry, wait.
You'd be like, this shit is serious. Like, I don't know if Black Widow's going to get out of here because they've already killed off fucking Captain America. You got this B squad full of...
No one's safe now. No one's safe.
Springer and Blur and Ultra Magnus, you could kill off any one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So... that, and I can honestly say, I've said this before, I'll say it again. There's a part in Metal Gear Solid 4 where Old Snake, who is dying, is dragging himself through this hall that is literally cooking him to death with microwaves. He is at the end of his life. He is getting ready to die, and I was just like, because my favorite.
I think my second would definitely be, well, it's probably my first, but I mean, it wasn't as emotional of a moment, but still very impactful. So the Dragonlance Chronicles, my favorite character, Ray Slamagir, the mage who decides he wants to become a god because, you know, he needs to be a god.
Like and we all
seduces this cleric of Paladine and convinces her to go back into the past with him to rout some evil, quote unquote, and then really wants to take over the world and become a god. And at the end, he ended up falling in love with the girl that he tried to seduce and sacrificing himself to save her in the world. Rather than, because he realized he would become a god, but then everything would be destroyed because of it, and he sacrifices himself to save the world. Fucking beautiful. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, I adore you. Margaret Weiss, you're my hero.
All right, so let's see. We got a few more questions here. This next one comes in from Nathan. This is greetings and salutations. I have a question regarding the current superhero saturation.
Oh.
From where I'm standing, it seems like between Marvel's movies, DC's TV series, Netflix, and the impending DC cinematic universe on the horizon, there's just too much super going around. So my question is, do you think that we will eventually reach a critical mass of crossovers and tangled continuities which will kill public interest in all things superheroic, or will the industry push enough new concepts to keep people invested, i.e. Deadpools and Suicide Squads? Love the show. Keep up the good work, and may your mighty gooch forever remain untainted. Yours unfaithfully, Nathan.
How dare you, Nathan? How dare you invoke the oversaturation? What even? This is a glorious age for comic nerds everywhere.
Yep.
We've been waiting for this shit since like the 40s and 50s.
Yep.
And now finally people are actually giving a shit and paying attention about the shit we've been caring about our whole lives. Like, what even? What even? Although, as long as people like Marvel are making the movies rather than like farming it out to other people that are going to ruin the movie. Rather than farming it out to other people.
What was that cough?
Nothing. Nothing. I did not do the loser sneeze. We're fine. So stop letting other people buy your comics and then ruining them.
Yeah.
Make the movies yourself. Don't ruin the characters. Do them the way that they are in the comics.
Hear, hear.
We'll be great.
Yeah.
We'll be great. Stop hating women. You know,
Sure.
Stop DC. Stop hating making money. Give us the characters we want to see. Do them well. And then things will be fine.
Yeah, DC.
They hate making money. Like Marvel hates women. It's fine.
Anyway, I said I'm always going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. Go watch Young Justice on Netflix. Apparently somebody said last week that Netflix is watching those numbers, and if enough people watch it, they will get a season 3. I was like, season 2 of Young Justice. What a great plot device. The entire Justice League has to leave Earth for a while because they're on trial in intergalactic. Actually, can I take
please do.
Can I take just a quick moment? This is completely off topic. I'm very sorry, Nathan. We will get back to you this in just a moment. I was watching a video yesterday. It was about Superman that was on YouTube. In the comments, I swear to God, it's been like 20 years. And the first like 12 comments were like, Superman's boring because he's got too much power. And he's the Marv Stew, I guess is what they call a man, Mary Sue. He's just like, he's perfect in his brain, and he's got all the powers, and he's invincible, and he's a dumb, boring character with blah, blah, blah. And so I thought about it, and it enraged me because Superman literally is my favorite superhero. If that was true, we would not still care about Superman. If every comic that Superman was in started with like, here's a bad guy, and Superman just lands and then walks invulnerably to the other side of the comic and punches every villain in the face and they all go down immediately, then we would not have Superman that was created in the 1930s after how goddamn long, right? Like, first of all, he's not invincible. There's kryptonite. There's magic. There's the rays of the red sun. And second of all, there's all kinds of things in the DC universe that are as powerful, if not more powerful, than Superman.
Wonder Woman,
great. There's heroes like Captain Marvel can punch. There was a Grant Morrison Justice League where Captain Marvel punches out Superman because Captain Marvel is very strong, but he's also magic, and Superman is vulnerable to magic. So
that's right.
Boom.
That's right.
Darkseid can Mongol can take on Superman. Brainiac is smarter than Superman. Superman's arch nemesis. Who's Superman's arch nemesis? You know.
I don't Superman.
Okay. Superman's arch nemesis, who's been in all the movies, is a fucking businessman.
Oh, okay. So it is Lex.
Right.
Okay.
Like, okay, Superman is very powerful and he's got all this Kansas morality, right? His arch nemesis is literally just a guy in a business suit.
Super smart dude.
Yeah. He's
super crazy.
Smart, crafty,
cray.
nuts. So you don't have to make every Superman comic about Superman punching people. Also, just go watch Justice League Unlimited. Like, there's things out there that punch Superman gets hurt. In fact, the death of Superman comic book is him getting punched to death by a monster. Like, it's not a kryptonite-powered monster or a red sun monster. He's just a big, invincible monster. So I just don't believe that I'm still reading this particular argument because just what the fuck are you talking about?
The point is, if you read your books and you do your history and your research, you don't ask stupid questions.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I
don't knock it till you tried it. Don't knock it till you've read it.
Yes.
Let us enjoy our ships.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay, let us enjoy our ships. I don't like Superman personally, but I'm not judging you for liking him.
Sure.
You like what you like. I like what I like.
The only reason I have such a reaction, somebody in the comments last week was like, the first week after BVS came out, I was like, eh. And then the second week I was like, grrr. And it's because the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Hollywood and culture, have all of it here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my chips here, and you can have all of them. You can have all of Star Trek, all of Star Wars. You can have The Hobbit. You can have Harry Potter.
I'll take all of those.
You can fuck up. You can every Marvel superhero that there's ever been, and every DC superhero that there's ever been, except just let me keep Superman as a Superman.
Kinky.
Please. You can have all of the rest of it.
What are you going to do with Superman all alone in your room?
I'm gonna look
dirty.
Yeah, maybe I should rephrase that in a different way. Just Jeff and Superman. Anyway, okay, let's get back.
Swoon.
Let's have less of that and more of Nathan's question. Are there too many?
No.
I don't think so.
I think there aren't enough of them done right. Is the thing. But we're getting closer with every permutation.
The only thing that I feel like is a hazard, and I think that we saw this in Age of Ultron, is getting to a point, just like in regular comic books, where there's too many things that you need to have watched to fully enjoy this.
Sure. I think they're still struggling with they're still trying to appease the market of people that aren't comic book nerds, that haven't read them. So they're trying to throw in a bunch of different elements that they feel will draw people in and get them interested and hooked so that they can make more movies. Sure. I feel like we're still in like the cornerstone stage, the setting the groundwork and trying to get people interested so then we can go crazy and have all of these other things.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that you lose a lot. Like all of the comic nerds are waiting for these details to happen and seeing a bunch of things that people that aren't familiar with them don't get because they haven't taken the time to slow it down and show you individually, like, there's this thing, there's this thing, here's this thing. But I think that as we go, especially with the construction of the Marvel studio in Georgia, which will be the largest film studio in the world, due to be finished within the next 3 years, I think.
Wow.
So, yeah, Marvel is building, as we speak, a studio in Georgia that will be the largest film studio of its kind in the world. Like, bigger than the London studio, even.
Wow.
Bigger than any studio in LA.
Okay.
And it's just for Marvel projects. So I think we're about to see... I think this is like the prequel right now, the movies for superheroes that we've had out. And I think in the next 5-10 years, we're going to see a step up in the production of these movies and in the authenticity of these movies because Marvel owns all their rights now and they're going... Well, I mean, not all of them, but the ones that they're making.
Yeah.
They own their rights.
I just hope
they're the ones making them.
Yeah.
And they're going to make them well. And I think that the more that people buy into them and see the movies and hype the movies, the more authentic content we're going to get.
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
Just give us a fucking female superhero movie, please. Dear God in heaven, there's so many amazing fucking characters.
I would watch a Black Widow movie all day long.
All day long and then some.
I'll
ScarJo, I love you.
I sit here. I'm the person who was like, yeah, I saw Lucy. I kind of liked it.
It was intriguing.
Everybody was just like, that's not how the brain works. I'm like,
you don't know. You don't fucking know.
Yeah, I hope that I think it's interesting the way that they seem like they're constantly moving their story forward nowadays. With when I look at the release schedule, like it's not like this year we're seeing Iron Man 4 and next year's Iron Man 5. It's like, last year was what, Ant-Man and what else was last year?
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, right? Mm-hmm. And so then this year, like Doctor Strange, like move it forward by having another origin story.
Yes. And slowly incorporate those origin stories together into the cohesive whole so that the whole makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that direction.
Yeah.
And I like the staggering effect. So we're not waiting at all for anything. We're always getting new content, but it's different content that it widens the genre and keeps people interested and draws more elements into it. I love it.
Plus, at least right now, I mean, like, let's say that you wanted to watch, let's say that you needed to get caught up on your Marvel movies. You could sit down and watch Phase 1 and Phase 2 in like a huge marathon weekend, right?
I do that often.
Yeah, it wouldn't take that long to get caught up as opposed to like, well, this is issue 374 of X-Men and it's referencing something that happened back in an arc in issue 86. So
yeah, you spend a weekend and you could watch all of the movies and be caught up and be good to go.
So
I dig it. I love Marvel movies so much, and I love DC movies, and I love superheroes, and I'm really hoping that in the next 10 years I'm going to book a part for one of those studios and be able to work with them. That's why I'm so thrilled that I'm going to get to play Barbara Gordon as Oracle in that Robin the Web series.
Right.
I'm really hoping that the production of that goes really well, and that the writing is beautiful, and that the production element of it is just solid, because I really want to use that as a segue to be like, hey, Marvel, book me for projects. Let the nerd do the thing.
Do you have a specific superhero or superheroine that you feel like that you would like to see a movie that is not, let's say, not already in production outside of stuff?
I want to see the Dark Phoenix saga.
Okay.
That is such an amazing fucking story arc.
So you're not a fan of X-Men 3?
This is the silence of me giving you the death stare.
I know.
They ruined her character so much. I could beat my head against a wall for how much they ruined her. Famke Jackson is a beautiful actress. Mm-hmm. She's great. She did great with what she was given. Mm-hmm. She was given total and complete crap.
Yep.
They ruined her character. They ruined her. There's so much great content. The struggle between good and evil and balance and power and oh man,
yeah.
My life. Yes. When I grow up, I would love to play her.
I would love to see what's the name of that group? The Starjammers? Were they the ones that were like the Cyclops' dad and like his cosmic group of pirate dudes or whatever?
Yeah.
Corsair? Was that his name? I would love to see those guys given like the Guardians of the Galaxy treatment and like, make them look a little ridiculous, but also really cool at the same time.
I dig that.
Mostly because I want to see out of a Marvel movie Gladiator. He's on the Shi'ar Empire. He's got the big purple mohawk. He's like Superman with a giant purple mohawk.
Yes.
I want to see that guy.
I want that in my life.
All right.
Hair. All that weave.
This next one comes in from Carl. Carl says, hello, everybody. The PC for a very long time has been an open platform. Before the days of Steam. For the most part, it was fine. You wasn't even beholden to just one distributor. Now, however, with Steam, you are locked down to one way of getting your gamer fix. With the improvements in network technology and communication infrastructure, should make things relatively easier for there to be a direct link between the game developer and the customer wanting to buy said game. I get a little tired of the unnecessary layers between me and my games. Along with that, I'm pissed. I'm past the point of no return with Steam. The average gamer is a far better filter for what games they want than Steam is. After all, we do have resources like Giant Bomb, GameSpot, Spawn on Me, and a whole host of other Let's Players on YouTube to give us more than enough exposure to get games out in the wilds. What are your thoughts? Best regards, Carl. No, you don't do much.
That's all you, boo.
Yeah, okay. You don't do much Steam stuff.
Not yet. I don't have a computer that supports the video card on it is so old. It's a computer from 2009.
Right.
So I can't game well. I mean, like I can barely play the Settlers of Catan on my computer.
Oh.
Let alone like I tried once to stream a video game on the computer.
And just no bueno.
And it cannot handle streaming a game while playing it on the same. It just can't. So if anybody wants to donate me a Steam machine or an Alienware or something like that, I will play all of the fucking PC games. I have a 1.5 mile long Steam wish list of games I want to play.
Yeah.
I just don't have a computer to pay for it.
Okay.
So I want to.
As far as Steam goes, Carl, I mean, I think that it's
Take your time.
It's a good question. I understand what he's saying because on the PC, like a good 80 to 90% of games that are purchased on the PC go through Steam. But, you know, Steam is a storefront. It's a layer between you and your game. Mm-hmm. It acts as a virtual library. And I take his meaning about how it would be nice to just give the developer that I like my $60 directly, like because PlayStation Network, Xbox, Steam, Nintendo, they all take a cut of every sale. So it'd be nice, kind of like the way that I always think about it is like music.
Absolutely, where I was thinking.
Yeah, I'd rather just give the artist $20 for their album
rather than pay the production company, and the artist maybe gets 20% of it after tour costs.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
On the other hand, I feel like Steam is a thing because it's a centralized platform for keeping all of your games in one place. Like, if you email the developer and then they email you back a code and you give them your money and blah, 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 it's like then if I decide that I want to play a game that I purchased 5 years ago, right now all I do is just open up Steam, scroll down to it, double-click, install, bada boom. Mm-hmm. So I think that the problem may be more just organization than anything else. Like the last thing, I mean, I've got... You know, remember those old big books full of CDs? I've got one.
Absolutely. I've still got one.
Downstairs that's full of PC games, and it was a terrible way to keep stuff. Gross. So I think that Steam is they've got a little bit weirder over the years, but I still prefer to have a centralized location to get everything. And it would be nice if Microsoft had something maybe that worked the same way, except that I can't see them doing that without using it as a crowbar to try to make you buy all your games through their game store. Mm-hmm. Like it'd be nice if there was like a third-party application that would say you could just plug codes into and it would pull games, because there's already Steam and then there's also Origin on the PC, so all EA games go through their own Steam client thing called Project Origin or whatever. And then Microsoft is right now on the Windows 10. They're trying to push their own game store. So I don't know. It would probably be nice to be able to give developers money directly.
That would be beautiful.
On the other hand, it's also really nice to have a big old archive thing that takes care of buying stuff, saves my credit card, DLCs are installed automatically, keeps games up to date, cloud saving, all that stuff is integrated into Steam. So, I don't know.
I wish there was a way to interface it both ways.
Yeah.
To give the money directly to the developer for the game. And then have a way to maybe like you pay a yearly whatever, and then you can have all your shit saved on Steam as well.
Well, actually,
so it's basically like an iCloud kind of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because there actually are quite a few ways that you can do that. A lot of times, developers will use like the Humble Bundle store, where basically you give them money and then they send you a Steam code in return, and you put that code into Steam and then you redeem the game. It's just I think that for a lot of gamers. And this also comes from my own experience running a website. A lot of people just are not willing to put up. They want the easiest route to do a thing.
Sure.
So if the choice is I can go to the Steam store, pick Dead Star that came out this week, go buy, install, done. Or I can type Dead Star into Google, try to find the company's website, go to their website, try to find the place where I can buy the game, go there, then log into my PayPal account or put my credit card number into some page that I don't know about, and then they're going to email me my receipt that has a code, and then I have to take that code and I have to put that code into Steam. I know it doesn't. I mean, you know, it doesn't seem like a lot of work, but what I've come to realize is that people want to get things in the easiest way possible.
Ease of access. So it would be interesting then to have an interface for directly getting games from developers. So like, here's your website for you to get here are all of the new games that are coming out and the link to the developer's version of that game ready, go.
There's actually...
That's the thing we need.
And there actually is a little bit. There's Good Old Games who now sell a lot of indie stuff on their platform as well, and it's all DRM free. So you basically get, like Steam wants you to be logged into Steam if you're playing your games, which generally speaking isn't hard for me because I don't have a problem with internet access, right? But there's a lot of people who are like, well, what if I'm somewhere else and, et cetera, right?
If I'm in a hotel room and I have crap internet and I want to play my fucking game.
Yeah. Now, Steam will let you play your games offline, but I think it's a little persnickety about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
I've been noticing that.
Good Old Games will let you just buy the game, download it, and play it without ever being online. So I don't know. It's something we'll have to look at in the future. I think that right now...
Great question, though.
It's going to take an 800-pound gorilla, though, to get Steam moving anywhere because they've got a decade worth of... I mean, just for my own sake, I've got like 600 and some odd Steam games. So you're going to have to make a really persuasive argument to get me to start over somewhere else.
I see that. That makes sense.
All right, our last question this week comes from... Okay, it didn't sign us with anything.
Oh, no.
We're going to call you Brent. Says,
Hi,
Dear
Brent.
Ragers and the Holy Beard Man, Patreon subscriber Brent here. Sorry, there's your name right there. I was thinking all week about a good video game question, but I got nothing. So off topic, all I have is what do you call carbonated drinks in Austin? With the regional soda, pop, or Coke debate, I want to know what you call it. I'm from Louisiana, and weirdly enough, we call any carbonated beverage cold drinks. Love the site and recent videos with Brian Brushwood. P.S. Does Brian's wife dress as Almond Space for Valentine's Day? P.S. Mr. Mayor, do you still eat at Jim's? Sincerely, Brent. So there's some weird stuff there. I usually go... I've always heard it as Coke, right? This is the South?
I'm from Washington State, and we call it soda.
Okay.
In North Texas, like I have a cousin up in Lubbock, and they always call it pop.
Weird.
I've heard Coke and soda down here.
Yeah.
I found pop to be very charming.
Yeah?
Southernism.
It's weird. I have, you go up to my grandma's house in Ohio over the summers when I was a kid, and my cousins all said pop, and I don't know what it is, but it just irritates the shit out of me. And I'm like, I rack my brain trying to figure out why, and I don't know.
Well, soda is a shortened form of soda pop.
Right.
So they just took one end or the other of that.
It's always been Coke as far as I know down here, which I understand why people from other areas are like, Coke is a specific soda.
But here in the South, they're very inundated with Coke products. Dr. Pepper, Coke, Sprite versus the Pepsi Cola.
Yep.
Oh, that's the other one, cola.
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 A cola drink.
And I think in the Northeast is where they call it that more often.
Okay.
Because that's where that originates, I believe.
I just...
I'm completely wrong on that, but...
you probably right.
Soda, me being a person who doesn't like generalizations...
Yeah.
I call things soda because it could be soda, it could be Coke, it could be Pepsi, it could be ginger ale. I don't know.
Sure. Just anything carbonated.
But I don't drink any of them, so...
Okay.
The only soda that I will drink, and say it's soda.
Yeah.
The only soda that I will drink is Sprite, and only in my gin.
Okay. Ooh, gin and Sprite.
It's delicious.
You should go for
gin and juice. It's light. It's fruity.
I usually do vodka tonics personally.
Oh, I cannot stand tonic.
All
my
about
girlfriend
that
is a gin and tonic, and I'm a gin and Sprite.
Okay.
And when we get them mixed up, it's chaos. Like if we go to the Alamo Draft House, we have a routine. We get side salads with she gets the lemon vinaigrette, I get the ranch, we get a spinach and feta pizza, and then we each get a gin and tonic or a gin and Sprite.
Okay.
And then sometimes they mix it up and
just blah.
It's flat. All the flavor's gone out of my Sprite. Why? But that's the only soda of any kind that I will drink.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really drink soda either, so the point is a little bit lost on me. But that is our last question, and we're done.
Oh, it's over.
Yep, it's time. This is a big old podcast this week. Jennifer, where can people find you on the interwebs?
So I am Mayhem's Muse. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/mayhems_muse. I am a variety streamer. I do a lot of singing on my stream, a lot of retro games and modern games. You can find me on Twitter, mayhems_muse. You can find me on Facebook. My professional page is Mayhem's Muse, Jennifer Lynn Larson. I post up lots of modeling pictures, acting videos, and updates on the projects that I've been working on, such as working with Rage Select and stuff like that. Yeah, you can find me on all those platforms. I've got Steam. I have a PlayStation 4. You can find me on the PlayStation Network as Mayhems_Muse. Come play games with me and talk shop anytime.
Okay, cool. Mail at RageSelect.com is the email address. You know the rest. We'll be back tomorrow with another brand new Dojo video. Yeah, I think it's time to go.
Thanks for having me back. I really enjoy hanging out and talking shop with you guys.
Yeah,
we need to go.
We can go get some sodas. We'll get some Cokes.
Ask me some questions. It's good stuff. I enjoy it. We'll have the soda pop. It'll be good.
Cool.
Or the tea. We're going to have that tea party. It's going to happen.
One of these days.
I will make you like tea. I'll put caffeine in it. It'll be good.
Okay. All right.
Caffeinated tea. It's
all
good.
right. Can I just dump some coffee in the tea? Take a cup of tea and then put some
hybrid of tea and coffee.
Okay.
We can do that.
We'll just abominations.
See, then that's compromisation right there.
Yeah. And then we'll make super soldiers, and I'm sure that nothing will go wrong, and none of them will turn against us and destroy mankind.
No, this will go great.
Yeah.
Now we just need a team name. What do you think that our combined team name between Mayhem's Muse and
We've already got it. We already got it. It's Mayhem and Rage, man. That's what it is.
Mayhem and Rage. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Mayhem and Rage.
Yep. And we're going to be mixing all of the drinks. That's just what we're going to do.
All of the beats.
Yes.